In the year 2000, a movie came out that would shock the world. It was a dream come true for those of you who may have grown up in the greatest decade of them all, known as the 1990s. An animated series that was so popular, we didn't even think it would be adapted as a live action film, but it actually turned out to be true. Take a young filmmaker by the name of Bryan Singer, you put together some of the best veteran actors as well as some new up and coming ones, and what do you get? You get an excellent debut for the Marvel team known as X-Men. And everyone was wondering at the end of the first installment, where are they going to go with this next? Well, on May 2nd, 2003, we got our answer with the movie known as X2. Or on the DVD cover, it says X2 X-Men United. Tonight, we celebrate the 20th anniversary of arguably the greatest X-Men movie ever put on film. But before we introduce you to our panelists and we begin our feature presentation, let's take a look back at some of the most historic moments from the first three films of the X-Men franchise. Take a look.
Since the dawn of existence, there have been moments that change our world so greatly. There will be no going back.
For the first time, the heroes who change the way we see the world.
We're not what you think. Not all of us.
Will be transformed on Blu-ray.
Sometimes when you cage the beast gets angry.
You have no idea what is upon us now.
The X-Men trilogy on Blu-ray redefines the high-definition experience with brilliant picture and superior sound.
I've never seen anything like this before. Welcome to the future.
Welcome to another exciting presentation of Movie Anniversary Watchalongs. I am your host, Ryan of Nerd Culture, and right here in our virtual movie theater, we're going to be celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Marvel film known as X2 X-Men United, starring Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, among many well-known actors and actresses. Our special guest will be joining us here momentarily, but in the meantime, just to give you a heads up, if you're just joining us and this is your first time here, in a moment we are going to begin the feature presentation, so queue up your copy on a physical media or streaming service of the movie known as X2, but I'll tell you when to hit the play button. We're not hitting the play button just yet. For me, going in to see this movie way back when in the year of 2003, I was excited. Why? Because I grew up like many of you on the 90s animated series on Fox Kids. I was really excited when the first live action film came out in the year 2000. I loved every single minute of it and still do to this day. 23 years later, I still love that movie. And going into CX2, I was even more excited. I'm thinking to myself, where are they going to take this story? Where is it going to go? How many other characters are going to be introduced? Are they going to show us more things about the school, more things about the Brotherhood of Mutants and all that kind of stuff? And boy, what a great film that we ended up getting. I really enjoyed it way back when in 2003. And also, this is a loose adaptation of one of the most iconic stories in comic book history. This is based loosely on X-Men God Loves, Man Kills by Chris Claremont, among others. If you have not read that graphic novel, strongly recommend that you check it out. That is some good reading. It's one of the better comic books that I've read so far in my 6 years of reading comic books. Yes, I know I'm still kind of new to the whole comic book thing, but hey, better late than never. So with that being said, we are going to start the movie here in just a moment, but just to give you a little bit of context, as the 20th Century Fox logo is coming up, so about the 2 to 3 second mark is where we're going to start to watch this movie. So without any further ado, let's begin our feature presentation in 3, 2, 1, and hit play. Here we go. And by the way, the reason I'm looking over to this side is where my screen is for the movie, so it's not because I'm ignoring you. And by the way, if you have any thoughts, any feelings about this movie, positive, negative, or otherwise, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat, and don't forget to like and share this with all of your fellow X-Men fans, because they're going to like the way they look after watching or listening to this presentation. We guarantee it. So we got the Marvel logo coming up here. And Patrick Stewart's character of Charles Xavier is starring the opening narration of the film. Really good opening credits here with some of the visual sequences that are taking place. And Patrick Stewart as a narrator, I mean, he can narrate anything. He can read out of a phone book, and I think it was great. So yeah, opening credits are starting to roll in association with Marvel Enterprises Incorporated. So that's how they opened up the credits for this second film in this franchise. Really good theme here by John Ottman, who composed the score for this movie. Really good stuff. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope you are having a great week thus far, here in this first week of May 2023. So they're opening up on a tour of the White House here. Oh, someone in a trench coat and a hat. Wonder who that could be. Oh, wow. Someone who can teleport. Wonder who this character is. Oh, man. This character moves very fast. He's running pretty quick, and he can teleport, apparently. Man, a lot of people have said this is one of the best opening sequences ever for a comic book movie, with the introduction of the character known as Nightcrawler. Oh my goodness. One of the actors there, he was on the hit series 24. He was also the voice actor on the television series, speaking of Fox Kids, NASCAR Racers. Man, this character, man, this Nightcrawler. Whew. Goodness gracious. Amazing powers. What if you had the power to teleport? Wouldn't that be cool? Really interesting stuff. Oh man, is he actually going to go through with this? Oh, he had a weapon. He had a knife that says "Mutant Freedom Now." He's trying to take out the president. Was Nightcrawler? But was Nightcrawler really going after the president on his own volition, or he may had to do it through other means? Was someone else controlling him for that? I wonder. Dave Manley says, if I had the power to teleport, I wouldn't have to wait for the mechanic to fix my car. Yeah, yeah, that's very true. It's very true, Dave Manley. Thanks for chiming in here, man. Thanks for being with us. Oh, hey, hello.
Hi.
Gray have walked in.
I'm sorry, what?
Gambit and Jean Grey are in the house. My goodness gracious. And I thought the X-Men were just fictional characters off a bloody comic book page.
Yep. Hold on. Gambit is actually, he'll be with us in just a minute.
Wonderful. Is he getting his popcorn from the snack bar? Yeah, let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the... Does anyone remember that jingle?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Actually, they still show it at certain theaters. Like if you go to like the old school theaters,
Really?
they still show it. Yeah, like there's a theater near me called the Tivoli. They've been around forever. And yeah, they still do that.
Dave Mattingly says, your friend over there, Gambit, is still holding those aces up his sleeve.
You got that right. You got that right.
Probably so. Probably so, Dave. Well, Gambit, as it were, and Jean Grey, welcome. Good to see you both. I know Gambit is still in the process of getting the popcorn and the soda for us. Thanks, Gambit. Love you, buddy. Welcome in. Good to see you. Once your friendly neighborhood Gambit arrives, I will both pose a question to both of you. So, we'll get into that a little bit later. But we are at the scene here in the movie where Logan is discovering this base hidden in Alkali Lake. He goes through the door. He sees a wolf giving him the stink eye, and then the wolf walks off. He passes through the gateway, and he's disappointed. He's nodding his head. He's like, "Oh, I'm disappointed."
Yes.
And now we're at the scene in the Museum of Natural History.
Okay, I think I'm a little ahead of you.
Okay. Storm's giving the presentation to the kids.
Yes. We just hold on. I'm so bad at these things.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's like
Gambit and Jean are new here on the movie Anniversary Watchalongs, which will get their real identities here in just a moment once Gambit arrives.
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
It's okay. Take your time.
You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna leave the extension for just a second.
It's okay. No worries.
Hey, Joey, I started it. The stream.
We'll give Gambit and Jean Grey a moment to collect themselves in the backstage area of the Westchester, New York set, as it were. We'll give you a moment there, lovely people who are joining us momentarily. Apparently Jean is hearing all these different voices in her ear. It's creeping her out. Screens are flickering here in the Museum of Natural History, I think they're in? Something like that. I don't know. I can't remember. It's one of the two. Giving you a moment to collect yourselves there, Gambit and Jean. It's not just a headache, is it? Look, I wasn't going to say anything, but ever since Liberty Island, you've been different. Hey, hello. She's back.
What's up?
Not much. Let me see. I can't seem to focus. I can hear everything, Jean. It's not just her telepathy. A month ago, you had to concentrate just to move a book across the room. Now every time you have a nightmare, the whole bedroom shakes.
I'm sorry. I can't help it. It's not my fault.
My dreams are getting worse. I'm just giving everybody context at home for what the heck is going on in this movie, because some people may be just joining us, whether you're our special guest here in the studio, or you're watching us in the comfort of your own home, which thank you for being here, for those of you who are joining us. And don't forget to like and share this video with all of your closest friends. And yes, by the way, has anyone seen Bobby and Rogue? Something's happening in the food court. Yo. Anyway, that's where we are. Hey, he's here. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our special guest real quick. And yes, the movie is still proceeding, but we will continue to talk about it as we go through it. Gambit and Jean Grey, please introduce yourselves to our worldwide audience and tell us a little bit about yourselves real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm Art of the Tin Man, Joe Ginaglia. Gambit is my favorite character of all time. I love the X-Men. I'm a comic book artist, writer, creator myself. Been an X-Men fan since 1990 or so, and since birth. It's like a lifelong, my main fandom, my main obsession, and glad to be here.
Awesome. I'm Gina Venerable cosplay. I love the X-Men. I love most fandoms. We do a lot of different things with the X-Men. We do a lot of costumes and watch all the movies, and it's a lot of fun. So thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
Well, we're very happy that you're here with us. We do appreciate you being here. And yes, X2 is celebrating its 20th anniversary on this special presentation. So thank you all for being here. And thank you to our panelists. And by the way, you two look fantastic because I'm just sitting here wearing my $2 shirt. But listen, hey, it's an X-Men shirt. It makes me look like I was actually a student at the school in Westchester, New York. So, I mean, at one point, before I even got this shirt, Xavier looks at me and he says, "You were attacked. My people brought you here for medical attention." I don't need medical attention. Yes, of course. So I just told him, "Listen, I don't need your medical attention, but I took one of your T-shirts, bro. So sue me."
I like it.
Yeah. So
Hey, at least you got a T-shirt, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
I
That's
came
I was
to
telling-
the
I was-
Institute for medical surgery, and all I got was this t-shirt.
and all I got was this. Exactly.
Exactly. All I got was this grayish looking gray looking t-shirt. But anyway, so the question I ask our panelists when we do these things known as special movie anniversary watch-alongs is that, what was it like for you going to see this movie for the first time, depending on when it came out? In this case, X2 was in the year 2003. So whoever wants to go first on this, what was your experience like seeing it for the first time way back when?
Oh boy, that was a huge deal for me. I mean, I felt super lucky because there was not an abundance of superhero films, so I was shocked that we were getting them. Whatever, 2001, 2002. So at the time, I was on a double date and a drive-through theater, and I was sitting in the back of a pickup truck with my girlfriend at the time watching this, and I just thought it was amazing. And she kept wanting to talk. I was like, shut up. X-Men is on now. It's time to watch X-Men. We got Nightcrawlers, one of my all-time favorites, Colossus, Iceman, like just seeing all the students and the school. That is what makes this my favorite X-Men movie. The school aspect is never better captured. And the characters, you rarely see any of these side characters. It's always just Wolverine all the time. And we actually get to see a little bit of everybody here. And this movie just really blew my mind as a kid because it felt, this is probably the most close to the comics and like what I wanted. I want a magical school. And that it just made me so happy as a kid. I was like, I couldn't wait to go to this school and be inducted. I was just waiting for my powers to emerge. And seeing Bobby and Pyro, it just was so relatable as a teenager, like the drama of the bad boy and like wanting to be the good boy and the relationships. I love it.
Yeah. No, I went to see this with my sister. It was the year after I graduated from college. So, and I remember us seeing it in theaters, and we have a theater by us where you could like eat and stuff. And so like we were, of course, like noshing during the entire thing, but we really we loved the X-Men. We've always loved like all the, like different superhero movies and things like that. So we had a really, amazing time seeing it. I think that for me, I just like loved how beautifully done it was, like it's so rich. Like the mansion is so rich inside and like and again, yeah, the relationships. I love the relationship.
It's a place you would want to go.
Right. Right. And then I love like the prison and Magneto and I love Professor X and Magneto's relationship. It's like so complex, and it's actually probably my favorite relationship out of all of them. Because
that's what makes Magneto the best villain.
Right.
They are friends. They should be friends. But
right. And that's why it's amazing. But yeah. So that's kind of what I remember from it. It was a little while ago.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Yeah, just a hot minute ago. I'm looking at my watch here and it said, yeah, 20 years. For me, and I went over this earlier in the show, but just to give everybody just a little bit more context here. I saw this in a theater with everyone else. I think I went with a family member at the time. I can't remember. I think it was my aunt took me to see it or something. Or no, maybe it was my dad. It was one of the bottom line is it was a family member and they took me to see it. I was jacked up, ready to go because I love the 90s animated series on Fox Kids. I'm a 90s kid. Fox Kids was my jam. You had everything. You had the X-Men, you had Spider-Man, you had Power Rangers, which just turned 30 on Netflix. Way to go, guys. Way to go.
Love Power Rangers too. We got a Green Ranger and a Pink Ranger cosplay that we love to wear. And yeah.
Really? Do you?
Oh, yeah.
We do.
Okay, you're going to show me pictures of this after the presentation.
Just like Gambit and Rogue, Tommy and Kimberly were my other OTP as a kid. I wanted to be just like them. I love their romance, and they are huge role models to me.
They're super cute.
This is why the three of us are going to be fast friends.
love
This is great. I love that. I appreciate that. I look forward to seeing those photos of Tommy. What is it? The Tommy and Kimberly outfits a little bit later on in the show because I want to do my best to stay on task here. But for those of you who are wondering, unfortunately I don't have a timer in front of me. So if Gambit and Gene, do you have a timestamp for the movie? Real quick?
What time is it currently? It's 7:34 here right now in Chicago.
No. What I mean is a timestamp within the movie is what I'm saying.
No, we don't because
that's fine.
We're a little ahead of you actually.
We're a little ahead, but I've memorized this movie and we just watched it a week ago. We've been watching them all, so we know.
Right.
I watched it a few days ago. It's okay. What I was trying to say was, for the audience, normally I do give them a timestamp every 10 or 15 minutes where we are in the movie time-wise. But as far as I don't have access to that in front of me, I apologize. But just to give you guys a heads up, we're in the mansion now where Bobby and Rogue are trying to play a game of Thumb War without trying to make out in the middle of the couch.
Yeah.
And Colossus and his student are passing notes to each other saying, hey, if these two kiss, this is what's going to happen. You know? So, yeah, there you go. And by the way, Dave Mattingly, 15:30 for you. Okay, cool. Thanks, man. 15 minutes, 30 seconds in and around that time. For those of you who just joined us, just trying to give you some context. And Dave Mattingly goes on to say, the actor who plays X-Men's Gambit, Taylor Kitsch, goes on to play John Carter of Mars. That is true. He did. Taylor Kitsch did. Not in this movie, but he was in another movie, but yes.
Okay, no, they're farther ahead. No. Sorry.
I know.
You got-
We're confusing everybody.
I'll find it. It's fine.
Okay.
We will be right where you are. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing how many like of the actors that really, you know, came out in this movie that like hadn't really done anything before or not done much and, you know, really have had phenomenal careers.
I think Hugh Jackman doing pretty well for himself. Yeah.
Playing this role for the rest of his natural born life. And the other thing
fine.
was, which is fine with us, because, you know, a lot of people argue it's like it's one of the best, if not the best casting in the history of comic book movies. So, you know, no worries. It happens once in a blue moon. But the other thing is, with the character of Iceman, was it Shawn Ashmore? I remember seeing him in the Nickelodeon TV series Animorphs.
Oh yeah.
That was my introduction to Shawn Ashmore as an actor way back when in 1998, just 2 years prior to X-Men coming out.
No, that's amazing. It's like
Fun fact. I know, we gotta love the fun facts. Believe me, I'm full of them. I'm not full of the insert curse word here. I'm actually full of useless facts. It's great. It's wonderful. This is the beauty of having a nerdy brain.
Yeah.
You know,
Have you ever done X-Men trivia?
I've done. I don't know if I've done X-Men movie trivia, but I've done Marvel trivia, which includes a lot of Marvel movies, including these. So yeah, I think I think I may have done an X-Men specific trivia match. I can't remember exactly. I apologize. The memories aren't coming to me.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I've done X-Men trivia.
Gambit's really good at it too. Actually, really good at trivia. I think that my brain got so fried during, you know, all of the psychic instances that I'm not good at trivia.
Okay. It's okay. Some things, you know, some people are skilled in certain areas where others are not, and that's okay. By the way, Dave Mattingly says, I love the actor Aaron Ashmore in the Killjoys series. I was on Sci-Fi.
Oh, I don't know if I ever saw that one. I don't think I did.
It has a cult following. I've never seen it, but I heard it's good.
Oh.
Yeah, from the Sci-Fi channel.
Streaming on anything. They do have the Sci-Fi Network. Is it going to be?
Yeah, but I'm trying to think streaming-wise. I think since it's part of NBC Universal, it's probably on Peacock.
Oh, I have Peacock.
Okay, well then it's probably on Peacock somewhere.
Yeah, we're gonna flip you upside down. Whoop.
Whoop! Wow, we're getting flipped, guys. No, not that kind of flipped. You know, just saying, good Lord.
I like it. We just want to make sure that the phone doesn't die because that would be a bummer.
It's okay. Take your time.
Yeah, we're having a lot of technical malfunctions.
But everything's fine. We're all fine here. Thank you. How are you?
Thank you.
It's okay. Take your time. Our viewers aren't going to be confused as to why Gambit and Jean's screen keeps flipping every 5 minutes.
I know, right? How's that?
That's good.
Okay. Better?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not yourself when you're hungry, and then he takes a bite of the Snickers. Are you better? Better. Yeah. Insert commercialization here.
That was literally Gambit though a little bit ago.
You gotta have a Snickers.
You're not yourself when you're hungry. Or so I've been told. I'm just kidding. Anyway, oh my goodness. So yeah. But for those of you just joining us, welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is the X2 20th Anniversary Watchalong here at Nerd Culture Channel. Don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. Thank you once again to our special guests, Gambit and Jean, which is, you have real names, but I like see it on my screen and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm just going to keep calling them the characters because they're used to it at this point.
We like it.
We do.
We're used to it as cosplayers, just embodying those, whoever we are.
Right. And like, we do a lot of charity stuff too. So it's like, you know, for the kids.
The kids believe that we are.
You got to be the character.
Loki, Winter Soldier, Kylo Ren, Aquaman.
Guardians of the Galaxy this weekend.
They think that we are those characters. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. I cosplay a little bit myself.
Oh, yeah?
I do. Who do I cosplay as? I go as Indiana Jones.
Yes.
I've cosplayed as Marty McFly, 1985 with the puppy vest. What? Hey, kid, what'd you do? Jump ship? What? Well, what's with the life preserver? Anyway, 1985 Marty. and I also go as Clark Kent from Smallville, the TV series Smallville.
Oh,
Smallville.
fun.
Yep.
That's
A lot of them were just at C2E2.
I know.
So,
And
yeah.
actually, Back to the Future, the whole cast pretty much is
It's supposed to
coming
be at
for
Fan
Fan Expo. So
we're definitely going to meet
yeah,
Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox is like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
now's the time.
yeah.
Yeah. One of my best friends, he goes to a lot of conventions. He was saying to me a few weeks ago, we were having a phone conversation just to check up on one another because we're
Yeah.
good friends. And he said,
Right.
"Hey man, you going?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going." He's like, "Dude, if you're there, I know it's a lot, but if you can, you should meet MJ Fox while you still can, because the last time I saw him, you know, it's not easy for him. It's not easy for him in any stretch of the imagination. So if you get a chance, if he's at a convention that you're at, do everything you can to see him, because he's not. I hate to tell you this, but he's not going to be around forever.
Well,
And you know he does it strictly for the love of his fans. Like, you know, it must be so arduous for him to have to deal with that, and because he cares about people.
I know, and he just like seems like the most amazing person. Like the fact that he met his girlfriend and now wife of like I don't know how many years on Family Ties is just like so amazing to me. And I don't know, I love him. He's just a stand-up guy, and
Alex
I
B.
mean,
Keaton.
Yep, and I know like my grandmother had Parkinson's, and I know what that disease does to you. So it's really tough.
Very,
and
tough.
And Joey was saying that he was watching an interview with him,
sure,
where he was saying like he doesn't think he's long for this world
Recently, yeah.
So
that's tough. And I believe, are you gonna? Just out of curiosity, is it Fan Expo in Philadelphia that you're going to be at?
No, Chicago.
Oh, the Windy City. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Be in August.
End of August, yeah.
Oh, cool. Because he is going to be in Philadelphia as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That one's probably before.
Yeah.
It is. It's June 2nd through the 4th. It's Fan Expo in Philadelphia. Yeah.
I like Philadelphia.
Yeah, you guys get great people every year. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's amazing there. I love the art museum. Like, I think it's such a great museum, and I love how like they integrate the art into like all these like beautiful rooms, and it just looks like the time frame where they put the art in. I think it's amazing.
That's a fair point. I mean, my goal is to, I already have my ticket. I'm hoping to go to Fan Expo Philadelphia, but I'm having behind the scenes stuff that may prevent me from going. I'm not sure yet. I got to double check and make sure I can still do it. But my goal is to, yes, go to Fan Expo in Philadelphia, meet the cast of Back to the Future, or at least a few of them. And obviously the cast of Smallville is going to be there, and Smallville is my bread and butter. That is my destiny. That is my baby. Yeah. So when if I can meet Tom, Michael, and Kristen, I will die happy. So.
No, that's amazing. We know a lot of people who met them, you know, recently, and everyone had nice things to say.
Nothing but good things.
So it's really good when you're able to meet someone, and like we've had a few celebrity interactions without naming names that were not the best, but overall,
some are better than others.
Yeah. Overall, some of them are very, very good. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, look, we're caught up with Broken Copy.
Yeah, I think we're a little far behind. But yeah, what part are you guys at right now?
Oh, yes. Yeah. What are we doing here again? Yeah. So we're celebrating X2's 20th anniversary. Right now we're in the scene of the movie where Mystique is going through computer files of Stryker's computer. She finds out that there's another Cerebro. She finds out that there's a security guard that she can get close to get access to Eric Lensher's prison cell. And Yuriko is starting to walk in, and she may pop in on Mystique. Maybe not. I don't know.
Okay.
But she's going through the computer right now, and then she's clicking on the file known as Cerebro just now. That's where I am in the film.
Okay. All right. We're catching up. We're catching up.
Yeah, that's
we are also obsessed with Succession and Brian Cox as William Stryker, and he has so much gravitas and is such a badass. We've been watching the last 4 seasons of that this past few weeks, just catching up as it's on its final season. And Brian Cox is just a perfect Stryker. I remember as a kid being upset that Stryker was a villain. I was like, what a lame villain. Why aren't we getting Sentinels, Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister? And then they give us Stryker. What a lame villain. But he does have an air of menace to him. And he is like the perfect, he's the human side of the mutant conflict, which you rarely see in such a subtle way. I get why they didn't choose the Sentinels. And looking back now, I appreciate it. But as a kid, I remember being disappointed. Like, why not Sentinels instead?
Right.
I mean, not to fast forward the tape here a little bit, not including this movie because we're staying on point. But in X3, The Last Stand, there is, you see the Sentinel's head get cut off by Logan in the danger room. So
yeah, Oh,
They hinted at it. It never happened. And then we got the masterpiece known as X-Men Days of Future Past, where we did get the Sentinels. And to me, I can't speak for everybody. I know this is an argument to be made later, but Days of Future Past is the best X-Men movie ever made. I love that movie to pieces.
I love it.
I agree. We got it right here. We have
Booyah, baby. There it is. Let me bring that up on the screen. Give me a second. Let me bring that up. There it is.
Woo! I bought hard copies of every X movie because I refuse to rely on Disney Plus, and I'm like,
Actually, I have hard copies of most of them.
Yeah, you do too. It's funny because I'm like, we have all of our X movies out, ready to go. And
we're educating.
We're teaching the boys. We're making them watch all of them in a row chronologically.
Yes.
And
nice.
And they're really loving it. Actually, they are.
Yes.
They're like, although they get attached to the characters too, and they were pretty upset. At Last Stand, because obviously that movie,
there were some deaths. They're like, "What, Professor X, Cyclops?
How can they all?" Exactly. They're like, "What happened?"
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
That's good visual aids here in the studio. But I do want to take a moment to acknowledge our good friends in the chat. Dave Manley says the show Killjoys with Sean Ashmore. It also starred Hannah John Kamen, who went on to play Ghost in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, Killjoys. Have you ever seen that show?
I've heard nothing but good things.
All right, I think we
on
watch
Sci-Fi at one point. Yeah. And then let's see here. Derpy Entertainment chimes in. They say the best film of the trilogy for X-Men was X2, and then the downfall of the franchise happened with Last Stand. Then it collapsed harder when the Disney animation department of the late 90s and early 2000s. Okay, all right. Hey, fair is fair. And then he also says, I agree, Ryan, with what you said about X-Men Days of Future Past being the best X-Men film ever made.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Derpy Entertainment. We appreciate you too. There you go. He chimes in a lot during our shows, so thank you all for being here. For those of you in the chat, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks. Oh,
yeah.
The X-Men.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe the Phoenix Sisters will pop in here soon. Who knows?
You never know.
We just hung out with them this weekend. We did a huge Batman Gotham shoot.
We did.
Did you?
For like an all-day Saturday. So
yeah, it was really fun.
Awesome. Yeah.
It was really fun. So, and it was like perfect because we thought like in the morning it was raining, but then it was like 55 degrees. So it wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. We were able to it was overcast, so it wasn't too bright.
We were shooting under the L trains in Chicago here.
Yes.
And that's where they filmed a lot of the Nolan films. So it was right on those same locations. And we had about 30 Batman villain cosplayers hanging out. And it was awesome.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. It was a really, really good time. And actually we would have had more, but I think people, because it was raining, thought we weren't going to do it for whatever reason. So
the Bat family does not cancel. We power through.
Yes.
Neither sleet nor rain nor hail.
Maybe a tornado though.
Maybe a tornado.
Yeah.
Maybe a tornado.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd be a little tough unless you got Storm in there to manipulate the weather.
Gotta get Storm to chill it out. Totally.
Where's Aurora Monroe when you need her? I guess I don't know, right? By the way, Dave Manley chimes in. He says an unpopular opinion of mine is X-Men Apocalypse is actually quite good. Hey, listen, I rewatched that a week ago to get ready for this, and I got to tell you, I don't think it's bad.
Yeah,
I think X-Men Apocalypse is good.
I love that we got Psylocke, Archangel, and they're pretty good. They're good incarnations of them, and I think Oscar Isaac did a great job as Apocalypse. I think his look is a little weak for Apocalypse. It's not what we imagined, but I think that movie is perfectly fine. I think Dark Phoenix is the one where things really fell off, and they decided not to renew anything.
Yeah.
And at that point, they were already sold out by. We didn't even know if we were going to get that movie. We didn't know if we were going to get New Mutants or Dark Phoenix at that point because the Disney buyout. So I was just glad we got those movies at all.
Right.
I love New Mutants too, and a lot of people hate on it, but I think I love those characters.
Yeah.
I haven't seen New Mutants yet. That's the only X movie I haven't seen. Is that New Mutants? I know it's on Disney Plus, but I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet either.
Yeah, we'll have to watch that.
I know. I was
maybe all three of us should sit down and just do a commentary. That would be fun.
Yeah. It'll be fresh. You know what I mean? Too. Like you and I will have never seen it, and we'll be like, "Wow, this is great," or we'll be like, "Oh, this part wasn't so good."
We'll have to talk about that backstage. That'd be actually kind of cool because normally not. And just to give for those of you who just joined us a little behind the scenes thing here, I normally watch the movies that we're about to watch a few days beforehand, just so my mind is fresh and in the game and I have a little bit of a perspective on it.
Yeah.
But seeing a movie for the first time and just doing an actual watch along as we're seeing it for the very first time.
Yeah.
I don't know. That might actually be a bad idea. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean,
we'll put it in the suggestion box.
Sure.
Put it in the box that doesn't exist in my new studio, which is here. So yeah.
I like it. So what do you think about the new animated X-Men, which has already been delayed? But are you excited about it? What are you feeling?
Is it this is the one that's a continuation of the original 92
Yeah,
one, right?
it's like
It is,
literally. It's,
Yeah, like 5 years after the last one. It was like it's called X-Men 97. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I'm glad that they got like similar animation style for it. I think they got some of the I don't know if some of the original voice actors are coming back.
It's
but
all-
they-
all of them.
Yeah,
They're
Oh,
all
great. Well, then,
original.
hey, they sold me. I'm in. I'll watch
Yeah,
it.
so
I don't care if it's been delayed because we got a million things to keep us occupied in the meantime. For example, X2 turns 20. May the 4th be with you is this week.
right.
We also have free comic book day on May the 6th. So there's more than enough things to keep us nerds busy.
Oh, totally. I know. We're excited.
May the 4th
This
be
weekend has almost too much. They shouldn't do free comic book day the same weekend as May the 4th and
Yep.
Guardians 3 release. Like we have such a packed weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And you two are going to be working overtime.
Well,
Always do.
I was
Always
gonna say we
do.
usually do actually after our Gotham shoot. We did that 70s show themed games at a bar
Yep. Exactly.
like immediately after.
back to back.
It's like I like went in the bathroom. I was dressed as a Lady Gaga Harley Quinn, and I went in the bathroom, wiped some of it off, and changed into Donna.
Good
We
Lord
often do 2 or 3 costumes a day at cons, so we're kind of used to doing quick
Right.
changes.
Right.
Like we'll go right from X-Men to the Avengers to the Justice League in one day sometimes. So
Right.
I applaud people who do it because the reason I do the cosplays that I do is because the clothing that I'm wearing for those said cosplays is comfortable.
And that's good.
comfort
So
cosplay.
I
It-
feel comfortable in my outfits, but if I'm wearing something that's like multi-layered, or I want to do this at some point. I haven't done it yet. Please forgive me because I haven't done it yet. But I want to buy the tunic and go as a Jedi from
Yeah.
Star Wars, just a regular Jedi. And I know you can get the tunic off of our good friends at #not-a-sponsor Amazon, because I have the lightsaber and have a Jedi robe. I just don't have the tunic and the boots. So
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't have it yet.
I'm actually in Rebel Legion.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there anything you don't do? Honest to God.
There's no fandom we
Yes,
have not touched.
and-
probably.
You're in the Rebel freaking Legion?
I-
My gosh.
I love X-Men, but Star Wars is my favorite.
That's your
That's
main.
my love.
That's your number one.
And
Yeah.
what?
That's your number one
That's
fandom
mine.
is Star Wars?
Oh, Empire is my favorite one.
No. What I was saying was, in general, Star Wars is your favorite fandom.
Oh yes, I'm sorry.
Totally.
I'm like, wait, hold on. I know my favorite Star Wars movie, but yes, no, yeah, that's definitely my favorite. Like, I only have one tattoo, and it's a Star Wars tattoo, and it's my favorite thing. So I love it. It makes me so happy.
Mm.
Yeah.
Fun. Before I tell the folks, because we have a bunch of folks who just walked into the chat here. I am in the process of reading Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray, and I
Excellent.
freaking love it. So, yeah, I'm doing this thing now where I like to read because life is better when reading, folks. And I'm starting to do a deep dive in something known as Star Wars novels, both ones that are part of a series and ones that are standalone. Standalones are a lot easier for me, let's be perfectly honest. But Master and Apprentice is fantastic. If you want to know more about Qui-Gon Jinn and the relationship between him and Obi-Wan Kenobi before the prequels, read that book.
That's awesome. I have to admit, my reading of all the books and everything is
The expanded
very-
universe is vast.
I know.
Yeah, it's deep, man.
Thousands of comics.
I know.
It's deep.
Yeah.
And I should get into it, but I tend to read a lot of other books. Like,
Sure.
it's like I watch the shows I like, and then I read books like about other stuff, if that makes sense. So I can be more well-rounded. But his cousin has read every Star Wars.
Yeah, my
book,
family
like,
is huge into Star Wars and has read every book. We play the RPG, we play Dungeons and Dragons Star Wars version.
Yeah.
We have all the games.
And
They are deeply immersed.
we also played a X-Men D&D.
We did an X-Men D&D campaign. Yeah.
It was really fun.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but before I acknowledge our friendly neighborhood people in the chat, I mean, my mind is not only blown, but
Yes! That's awesome!
Wait.
I mean, that's just freaking awesome. Seriously.
No, it's super fun. It's super fun. We love doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, after we did the event last weekend, we're gonna do a DC one.
So now we have to do a DC D&D game.
I was like, I feel motivated to do this, and we build like all the buildings and everything.
Built the X
Like,
Mansion,
yes.
built the Xavier Mansion to scale.
Yes, and I think our most ambitious one was definitely the Star Wars one, though.
The Star Wars
Like,
game was a
made
5-day
so many-
long, like 50 hour long campaign with the entirety of Mos Espa spaceport, and there were like 8 factions.
Yes. And it was funny because we kept like, it was the 4 of us and the 2 boys, and then every day like other people would come and play with us.
Yep.
So they would just kind of take over that other area.
You can play Tusken Raiders, you can play the
Exactly.
Bounty Hunters, you can play the Mandalorians.
And the hero of the game was a little Ewok.
Yes.
It was awesome.
He murdered.
Lots of nerd blood is being spilled, but in the meantime, here on the 20th anniversary watch along of X2, we're at the part where the X Mansion is being invaded by gentlemen in suits, and they're trying to attack everyone. But Logan just grabbed one and said, "You picked the wrong house, bub."
Oh,
and whoever that girl is screaming her head off to warn people that they are being invaded.
Siren, right?
Yes, Siren.
Siren.
Teresa.
Oh,
Kent.
Siren is the character name.
Yeah.
Okay, I never knew who that was.
It's Banshee's daughter. Yeah.
Oh, it's Banshee's daughter in this movie? I had no idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
She gets silenced with a tranquilizer, though.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that all these children are being depowered.
I know.
But the claws just came out, and he
don't
just
dig
kills
you
a
out.
guy in the middle of the kitchen.
Oh, I know. He's so awesome. Like, how do you not love Wolverine? You know, he's so great.
Iceman hiding under the counter. You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Okay, Colossus figures that something's going on. John grabs his lighter because it's pyro. So for those of you just joining us, that's where we are in the film where the mansion's being invaded and Logan's trying to fend them off. But if you're just joining us, don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. And if you have any feelings about this movie known as X2, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. And don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends.
Yep.
Indeed. I just shared it on Facebook and Instagram, so I suspect a lot more people are probably going to join us in a second.
That's great. That's great. No, I'm kidding. That's great. It's great news. We appreciate all the viewers. We appreciate all the likes, the comments, everybody who has feelings about X-Men. By the way, here's a question for the audience and for our panelists, too, if you want to think on this for a moment as we are continuing to watch the movie. Favorite X-Men graphic novel? Let us know in the comments.
I know what mine is. I have almost every issue of every X-Men comic, though. I'm a huge collector. I have probably every issue except like the first 5 or 6 issues of Uncanny from 1963, because those are all multiple thousands of dollars, if not tens of thousands. So I don't have those, but my grandma went and tracked down everything from the 60s and 70s for me, and I collected everything up to current. X-Force, X-Factor, Excalibur, Wolverine. I have every single issue bagged and boarded in chronological order on shelves. It's my pride and joy. And I mean, I have all the key issues. First Rogue, First Gambit. I don't know the first Wolverine. I would love to have that one too, obviously. But I've got pretty much every issue of X-Men. And I love Dark Phoenix Saga, obviously. I love Age of Apocalypse. Blew my mind as a kid. I love Dark Alternate Realities. I mean, there's so many good X-Men crossovers. It's crazy. And I like that a lot of them got translated into movies, like Days of Future Past. That is such a cool, dark alternative future. So, but there's too many I could name. It's a lot.
And I won't be very helpful because I'll be honest, when I was a kid, I was reading Babysitter's Club books and Mad Magazine and Crack Magazine, like anything like that was funny was like my jam. Like, so I didn't read a lot of comics, which is I take away my nerd part.
I have given you quite a few over the years.
Yes, that is true.
And she is working her way through astonishing Joss Whedon and Cassidy's astonishing run.
Yes.
And I'm getting the boys into the Joe Madureira stuff from the 90s because they're really into anime, and that art style is just extremely fusion, mid-90s goodness.
Yes.
I love these issues. They taught me to draw. I was super into Chris Pacello and Joe Mad and John Romita in the 90s. So I'm a 90s kid. But so these are the ones that, here's Jean Grey, here's your girl, here's Jean and Gambit on the cover. I love this cover because it was one of the few covers that had Jean and Gambit on it as a kid. And you rarely saw those two together. And I just loved how good this cover was. Jean and Gambit, Jean defending Gambit, fighting the Juggernaut. Like what a great issue. And then obviously Sabretooth versus Psylocke here. Another classic issue, just great art, devastating story. I love those classic issues, and I love that we saw a lot of them. These characters in the movies, seeing them on a big screen was mind blowing as a kid. I was like, I can't believe they're making movies now.
You know, I've had, and by the way, this is nothing against all the people who have come on this show before. We've had lots of great guests. We've had so many great panelists. We've had some great people to interview on our show known as And I Quote, which you can find on Saturdays, 12 p.m. Eastern time here at Nerd Culture Channel. But you, kind sir, and this, by the way, this is a term that was coined by John Schnepp, who was a very big nerd. He was on Collider Heroes. He was on Collider Movie Talk when Collider had a movie talk show on its YouTube channel, respectively. He wrote some comics. He did a documentary about the death of Superman Lives, What Happened. John Schnepp had a term for us nerds, and he called us sweaties, which means that you're just oozing like nerd sweat off your body, whether it's figuratively or literally. But you, sir, you, with your X-Men collection and everything else that you've shared with us, and this goes for both of you, but you, I mean, the nerd sweat is just oozing out of your system. And I'm thinking to myself,
oh, it's a lot. I know.
Yeah,
you're a very big, hardcore, sweaty nerd. That John Schnepp, he passed away some years ago, unfortunately. By the way, rest in peace to Mr. John Schnepp. If he were here right now, and I've never met him before, but in my estimation, I'm thinking that if John Schnepp were here and he heard all the stuff that you shared with us thus far during this presentation, he would give you the biggest nerd high five and probably the biggest nerdy hug you've ever experienced in your life, because you are a sweaty man. You are a sweaty.
I embrace it. I have no small passion, only the most hardcore of passions. This is
well, and that's why we always try to go hard.
This is a lifestyle. This is not a hobby. My hobbies are like eating and like going about mundane life. This is my actual lifestyle.
It's weird for us to like wear regular clothes.
Yeah,
like
I'm cosplaying like a normal person.
I know. That's what I think about. I'm like, okay, like what would a normal person wear to this event? I mean, I do own a lot of accessories and hats and stuff, so it's fine. But it does get stressful.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
honestly,
we definitely dive in. We dive in hard.
Like, hardcore. I mean,
we're gonna do. Can I tell you the one we're excited about? We're doing for Fan Expo is we're going to do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles group.
Big turtle group.
Oh my god.
And like, but we want to do like a whole bunch of the like really random. I'm gonna be Muck with Eyeball Joe.
To be Muckman, and I'm doing Krang, so I'm building my tiny puppet.
Yeah, and I want
tentacles.
I kind of want to make it oozy.
We're gonna make it gross. We're gonna make it gross. Yeah.
So it's awesome.
My gosh, I have always liked Cowabunga. I mean, honestly, man. Dude, you mentioned Turtles, and the reason I say that, not because it's one of the most iconic lines in that film, but I met Kevin Clash, the voice of Splinter from the original movies.
I love it.
And he was a boss, and he signed my NECA Splinter figure with "I have always liked Cowabunga Splinter Kevin Clash." And I'm like, life's been made, what's up? And then we did a picture together. Obviously, we did a selfie. And I held up, in the picture, and this is on our Instagram feed, I held up 5 fingers because it represents not only the 4 turtles, but their sensei, Master Splinter. So I got to represent the 5 horsemen. Yes. So I did that. And the fact that you're doing a Ninja Turtle, you basically just covered all my fandoms. You covered Power Rangers, you covered X-Men, you covered Turtles, you covered DC, you covered this, that, the. Dude, you're such a nerd. I mean,
well, and then we did
group.
We did a He-Man group.
We did a 50-person Masters of the Universe She-Ra and He-Man characters alike cosplay group. I was Manny Faces with spinnable faces.
Yeah, and I was Peekaboo, who is like a pretty unknown
obscure
girl, but I mean, the She-Ra characters, there's not a ton of them. Like, I mean, there's a lot of them, but a lot of them are not well known. But I was like, because we didn't know each other super well at that time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll be whatever. Tell me what to be and I'll make it. And so I did with this giant tail. It was fun.
Wow. I mean, I knew you were superstars, but you're like overly super. Now I know why that Kelly and Crayley are your best friends. So now I know why. Kelly, thank you for introducing me to these fine group of people, because clearly Gambit and Jean Grey got me beat.
Oh no.
No, man.
We
Thank you for always representing
yes.
all the fandoms.
That's
and
what we
just
need.
connecting all the dots, because that's what we need. Is there's two
Yep.
people isolated, alone in the world, just like the X-Men. You have the Charles Xavier out here bringing us all together in the safety of the mansion, so that we can be our true selves and not have to hide our great gifts.
Right. And with kindness, understanding, and like a real appreciation for the art.
Yes.
Yes,
exactly.
And we also have an X-Men arcade that I bought for him.
Yeah, we got the X-Men arcade right here. You can see it going on. We have.
Oh, I see it. Yes. Oh wow.
Yeah, this is the man cave, and it's awesome. And
it's a mess.
Yeah, that's okay. Toy collection, art, and X-Men
Look
arcade.
at this nerd cave. I'm loving it. In the words of our good friends at Futurama, shut up and take my money. Like, I want that X-Men arcade now.
Yeah, she got me that for Christmas a couple years ago, and I was like, "This is the best Grail gift of my entire life. I have always wanted this thing."
I knew that he did.
And,
it was funny. I always try to give him something really special every Christmas.
Something always X-Men related.
Yes.
She knows my fandom.
I know. I was like, guess what's in there? And he's like, a pony.
I'm like, it's a giant box. Is it a pony? Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's not a pony.
Necessarily. No, it's not a pony, not necessarily, but it's something else, right? And for those of you who are wondering what the heck is going on here, we are celebrating the movie known as X2, X-Men United's 20th anniversary, and we are at the scene where Mr. Lorio is being seduced by Rebecca Romaine, aka Mystique, in this case, bottoms up, as they say in this movie, during the course of this particular scene. And Dave Mattingly chimes in here in the chat. He says, "No one's got you beat there, Ryan, because we aren't competing with each other."
That's the truth. Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
Well, no, we're racing ourselves yesterday. Are we better than ourselves yesterday?
Yeah. What I always say is, I think it's just important to be the best version of yourself. That's all you could do.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be anybody else. You want to be yourself. Be the best version of you. And that's it.
Yep. It's not a competition.
And some days aren't going to be our best days, and that's okay too. Like, give yourself some grace. Give other people grace too. Like, everybody has a down day, and you just have to say, look, it's cool. I care about you. I love you anyway. Don't worry about it. You're cool.
And it's ultimately teamwork that makes the dream work. Like, we are stronger together. So the more you can connect the dots and the more powers you can bring together, like, the better off you will be. So that's our philosophy, is we always want to try to bring people into our world, share our passions, help people level up their own power sets. And then together we can do something far greater than we could ever accomplish alone. And that's always kind of been my life philosophy. X-Men changed my life. It gave me this philosophy to seek a greater unity between all types of people. And that has allowed me to make so many friends I never would have otherwise had, or, pursue so many dreams I never would have otherwise had. Like, one man's worth, Professor X, he had one dream himself, to bring everything under peace. And like, that to me is like, I would like to have that better world. It's like Star Trek. It's the most optimistic utopian philosophy. And our world needs it so desperately. So anything we can do to bring that into the reality that we live in, whatever your hemisphere is, your influence is, that's what we try and operate. Like, Professor Xavier is honestly like one of my patron saints. And Patrick Stewart is as both Picard and Xavier. He educated me so much as a kid in the 90s.
He's so amazing. So amazing.
Wow, man. Okay, guys, thank you for coming to our TED Talk. We're gonna wrap up tonight. We'll see you next week. All right, bye. No, I'm kidding. I'm still here. But listen, no, you got a great point there. And to bring this back on the tracks here of X-Men, one of the things I love about X-Men, and this is something that maybe the person who's watching or listening to this right now, maybe you can relate to this. I don't know, but that's up to you, because everything is subjective. But I always thought of the X-Men as an analogy, because it can be used as an analogy for many different things, right? And it's still relevant today, in my opinion. So for me, the X-Men is an analogy of people with autism, because people who have autism are not always treated fairly. They're not always given the equal opportunities that other people are. So when I watched the first X-Men movie, and this is something I had a dream of in the back of my mind, I had a dream a long time ago. And this is, by the way, real quick, this is a behind the scenes personal story for me in relation to the X-Men. I always had this vision of myself opening up a school for people who are on the autism spectrum. And it's not only a place for them to learn, to get an education, don't get me wrong, but it's also a place for them to be safe, or if they wanted to stay there and live like the kids do in the mansion, like they live on the mansion's property, they live in the rooms, right? So I had this vision that I was the Xavier of that school. Like, I was like putting it together. I got it together. I'm not rolling around in a in a wheelchair, not but I just had this vision of me running a school like that, because it's like, you know what? Some days are not easy, and sometimes you just need to get away from it all. So why not be with people of your own kind? In this case, be with people who are also on the autism spectrum. Whether they are on one side or the other doesn't matter. It's still autism. And if you've only met one person with autism, you've only met one person with autism, because it's a very big deal. So that's my thing when it comes to X-Men. And that's why I love the X-Men so much, because at times I have felt isolated and alone. I have felt like, oh, I don't understand stuff because my brain is wired differently. And this is the thing for people who are on the autism spectrum. If you have autism, it means your brain is wired differently. It means you receive information differently than a neurotypical would. But it doesn't mean you can't succeed. That is what I've always thought in relation to the X-Men being an analogy for autism. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. You're turning what others perceive as a weakness into your greatest strength. And that can be your total like focus, or your ability to be inside of yourself and be self-aware. I mean, turn whatever feels like a weakness and turn it into your superpower.
Well, and I do say that people with autism do have a superpower, because you can focus.
Hyper focus in this world of constant
my brain
distraction
is constantly
like,
like bing, 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 bing. But my son, he is on the spectrum too, and he can he just gets like super into whatever he's into. And I mean, it's like amazing what he can accomplish as an 11-year-old kid. And it's like
coding, programming, Minecraft. For me, it was drawing comic books. So whatever your gift is and whatever you're into, just that will one day become the thing that carries you through the rest of your life. Like, you need to be shy about your passions.
Right.
Let them become your greatest strength that guides you and connects you to other people.
Right. Right. And also, like, I think for me, at least, the X-Men represent like anyone who is an outcast, anyone who is not, accepted because they are different, for whether it be because of autism or, there's so many different struggles that everybody has every day, and we can't possibly know. And so
it's the hidden struggle.
Exactly. And I'm so happy that they came up with like these characters like Chris Claremont and all those guys. They it really does make a difference. It really makes people.
It's coded for a lot of different types of being othered, but the autism is certainly the modern application.
Right, for sure. But my like Nathaniel is always like, I have autism. It's cool. It's like, okay, cool.
He gets it.
He does. But no, that's a really good analogy though, for sure.
Yeah, that's why the council or the Senate scene in the first film always hits me so much. It's like, yeah, I can understand that. Jean Grey's doing this presentation right in front of the senators and everybody. Right. Like, that is such a good analogy, man. Such a good analogy.
No, for sure.
In my opinion.
No, I totally agree.
That's why I love the first movie so much. It hits me so much because it's like I feel these guys' pain of being outcast and being bullied and pushed and because Jean Grey says it in the first film. Once again, I'm doing so well of keeping the show on the rails. With Jean Grey saying, hey guys, people who are it is a fact that mutants who have come forward have met with fear, hostility, even violence. So it's like that has happened in real life for people who have struggled with other things. It's a real life thing. So it's great. That's why I love the movie so much.
I totally agree.
We're at the scene in the movie here now, watching Men 2, where they've had to retreat to Bobby's childhood home with his parents, and his parents. This is like one of the most powerful lines in this whole movie, probably the whole series. Like, have you ever tried just not being a mutant? As if you could just like flip it off with a switch, you know? I think that always blows people's minds. Like, no, we are who we are. We shouldn't have to be ashamed of who we are. You should embrace who you are, and you should try and find other like-minded people that you can help or that can help you. Like, be a mentor or be a hero to someone who has not yet found their way in life. And I guess that as a teacher, I always strive to do that. Like, my whole life goal has been to be that Professor X for my fellow nerds, if possible.
No, for sure. This is one of my favorite scenes, actually, with the guard is going in.
Yeah, Mr. Lorio, there's something different about you. Too much iron in your blood.
Neil, exactly. And that guy's just like such a D-bag that it's like, you're like, oh, bye.
Mr. Lorio, never believe a woman, especially one who's interested in you. Mhm. Using the marbles to, just break himself out of prison. Because he said, I'm going to fight this war, whether it's in here or out there, by any means necessary. I don't
Oh
care
my
what
God.
it takes.
I think this was the kids' favorite scene.
Yeah,
too.
they
They're
were loving this.
Whoa!
Like
they're
Magneto
this
is insane. This just goes to show how insanely powerful. He needs barely anything
right.
to just do so much damage. And the synthesis of he and Mystique working together is just so cool.
Oh my gosh!
I love seeing this.
But like in the next movie, when he abandons her,
It's
when she
heartbreaking.
loses her power,
Yep.
You're not one of us anymore.
like
Yeah.
I can't like that. That doesn't like I don't know. For me, I feel like it doesn't jibe with it because like
Well, Magneto is such a superior person. He only sees people for what they can do for him. He doesn't see people as people or mutants as just people worth caring about.
I know, but that's so sad.
It is
Like
sad.
that was probably like one of the saddest things I ever saw. You know what I mean? When he leaves her behind, and I'm like, what? I felt very betrayed.
Well, it's sad that like some people are just users. Magneto does use and he just sees people as weapons. Professor X, he takes in all kinds, even the
Right.
weakest, most
Right.
awkward mutants. And you want to be that kind of person, like
Right.
love and take care of all kinds of people. You don't need to be. And Magneto is such an elitist.
Right.
Such.
By the way, that's a funny zinger right there. What exactly are you a professor of, Mr. Logan? Art.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like it's art. Basically, he's a master of the art of killing people. That's what. By the way, that's what he's good at. And by the way, our good friend Dave Mattingly's here with us here in the chat. He says my favorite X-Men from the comics is Greedo, Strong Guy, and from the movies it's Nightcrawler.
Oh, Nightcrawler's amazing in the movies. I have
Yeah.
to.
I wish he
I have
had
to.
been in more of them. And in the cartoons, he's barely in the cartoons. I'm like, how do you not have Colossus or Nightcrawler or Psylocke or Archangel? They're in like 1 or 2 episodes of the cartoon each. And I love those characters. But I mean, obviously, I love Guido Strong Guy because he's Italian. I'm Italian, so I always
Yeah.
like that character.
We-
Strong Guy.
Yeah, he's a strong guy, you know.
Guido Carosella. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, he's underrated. When he had a heart attack in the comics, right before the apocalypse, he had a heart attack, and I was so sad. I'm like, they killed Strong Guy. I didn't think he was ever coming back. He did come back, thank God. But yeah, I love Strong Guy. Love X Factor. Peter David's X Factor is one of the best written of all the '90s X titles by miles.
Interesting stuff. And Dave Mattingly says I teach art of the Marshall variety.
Oh,
Better.
that's amazing.
Maybe that's what Logan meant here as well.
Yeah, I don't imagine it. I think he might be good at finger.
He's like a wood shop
A
dude.
wood shop,
Just
yeah.
chopping
Or
stuff
I was
up.
gonna say, or finger painting.
Sure.
And
And then he also says Peter David is the man.
Peter David's way better than pretty much any writer still going on. I mean, it's crazy to see how much work he's done.
This is actually my favorite scene here in the
run.
movie known as X2, X-Men United, when Storm and Nightcrawler are having this conversation and the Blackbird.
Yeah.
This is my favorite part of the movie because, and he's going to say it here in just a moment, for those who just joined us, this is the X2 20th Anniversary Watch-Along. Don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. And thank you once again to everyone in the chat and for our panelists. But when Nightcrawler says, when people outside of the circus, they were afraid of me, but I didn't hate them. I pitied them. Do you know why?
Yeah.
Because most people will never know anything beyond what they see with their own two
Right.
eyes. And then Storm says to him, well, sometimes anger can help you survive. So can faith.
Yeah.
Like that is
Oh,
that is a deep conversation, man.
It really
it
is.
really
And
is.
it's such a brief moment,
Right.
but it says so much. It's a huge conversation. You never see those type of talks in the MCU movies these days. It's like these movies really had deeper themes, better character moments. They weren't just trying to throw a bunch of CGI and huge battles. And these movies had so much heart and thought and care to the original works, even though they're not one for one for the comics. They do touch on a lot of the same ideals that
Right.
made those comics so beloved. And the character, the heart of the character, yes, it's Nightcrawler's aesthetically different, but
Right.
he really captured the faith of Kurt, which is my favorite thing about that character. Like
I
as
do
his
actually.
belief.
I agree. Which character? No, but that was like a totally different thing. We were just like reading through this thing on Facebook or whatever.
Mhm.
And who is the one who his power comes from
Oh.
his faith in God?
Captain Falcon from Smash Brothers. Apparently, the
Oh, geez.
creator of him, the Smash Bros. Creator said his faith comes from his powers come from his belief in Jesus Christ. And I
Is
could
it-
I was like, wow, no kidding, Captain Falcon. Okay.
Because everyone's like, where do they come from? And they're like,
Yeah.
that's where they're from. And I was like, I think that's amazing.
The faith will get you through dark times and through the hate of
Yes.
intolerant, weak-minded humans because they
Right.
will they think small. And Nightcrawler, when you have that power from on high, it does give you the ability to get through any challenge in life.
Right.
Any small human problems. It scales them down in a way. And I wish we'd gotten better Storm in these movies too. Halle Berry's super underused. I love that that's like the one moment that is true to her character where she's so compassionate,
right,
loving, and kind. And it's mostly just her like
making up,
frying toad with a lightning bolt and doing tornadoes and turning like covering the black with a storm cloud. It's such a waste of Storm, who I love too.
I know. It is. It's tragic. But
if you're following along with X2, we're about halfway through. We're at the scene where Wolverine and Bobby and Rogue are leaving Bobby Drake's parents' house.
Put the knives down. I can't.
I know that part always made me laugh.
I can't do it. And then Dave Mattingly says, a storm line that my friends and I use a lot is, do you know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? The same thing happens to everything else. And Dave Mattingly goes on to say, as a preacher, I relate to Kurt's views on faith when it comes to the character of Nightcrawler.
Totally.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. We have a Nightcrawler cosplay in our main group, and he is a devout Catholic, and he is a perfect Nightcrawler. And that is his main reason he loves cosplaying that character.
It's actually like super cool. Like he's the guy when we go out to dinner, like always prays before he eats and everything.
I really respect and admire his devotion.
I mean, I love me some Jesus. I'm not gonna lie.
Not to get on a bit of a soapbox here on this show, but anyway, we digress. But in that case, as the movie continues on, your host Ryan is going to step away for just a quick moment, but I will be back momentarily. But Gambit and Gene, you have the con. Go ahead.
We got you. Yeah. And then when you come back,
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. So anyway,
Pyro is about to spark. Here are the two philosophies.
This is when he like really like unleashes his
he breaks
evil.
bad.
Yeah, he does.
Taking out all these cops and it's kind of what we see in the real world. When times get hard or you're under pressure, are you going to try and diffuse the situation and make peace with people, or are you going to blow up like a bomb?
But I think with his previous experience, though, this is like the only way he knows how to.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's poor upbringing.
Right.
Even though you can show all the love in the world to a person, trying to educate them as well as you can, but it's their choice ultimately.
I know.
And it's sad, but I like that they humanized Pyro, because in the comics he's just such a villain, and here at least they made him the perfect duality to Bobby and Rogue, where he chose the dark side. And he's Luke. Luke could have gone the dark side.
I know.
And Pyro chose the dark side.
I know he did, but it is very interesting though.
It's interesting.
And I love that Rogue steals his powers here to stop him from doing it, and
then uses Iceman's powers to put out all the fires. Like, yes, you can be the person that de-escalates harm and brings peace.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think that is kind of everything these days, especially I think so many times everybody just goes to like a place of anger, a place of
that's the first place your reaction to everything. It's such a waste of energy and potential. You could create something so much better.
Of course, yes, you could use that energy to make things. And I'm not saying everybody's situation is the same at all. I'm just saying that if you're able to use that energy for something better, you can create the most amazing things. All right, I'm going to step away.
Yeah, you got it. Boys Club.
Yeah, when one person takes a commercial break, the next one does.
All right.
But for those of you who are wondering, you showed us some visual aids earlier. I'm going to bring this up here for just a quick moment. Yeah, I bought this recently because I have them on Blu-ray, but I don't have them on DVD. So yeah, I got the original X-Men trilogy on DVD. What are you going to do come at me, bro?
I know, man. I got a lot of mine on DVD too. I got a lot I'm buying them all on Blu-ray, obviously, nowadays, but I have all of them on DVD, and now I've pretty much got all of them on Blu-ray just because I like the special features so much. And I feel like I'm concerned because Disney Plus doesn't have a lot of these early X-Men movies. I assume it's a rights issue or a regions issue, but I want to watch my X-Men movies anytime I want. I don't need to be reliant on any streaming service. I don't trust them. They can change their minds anytime. I need to own these in physical media. This is why I buy comic books. Because no one can take them from me. There's no internet connection required, and to me, they are treasure. They are my treasure in life. So
yeah, 100%. I've said this on different shows, talking about different topics. Don't get me wrong. To keep it here on the X-Men bandwagon here for just a minute, but yeah, I'm a big proponent of not social media, physical media. I have tons of Blu-rays, tons of DVDs. Some of these movies aren't even available on certain streaming services, so it's better to have physical media because you never know when Skynet's going to take over. And then you won't have access to the internet anymore, and you need physical media to help you. So that's where the DVDs, the Blu-rays, or even 4K comes into the play. But I'm a big proponent of that, and also I do have a good book collection as well as comic book collection. Clearly, mine is rookie number. I mean, not that in any way, shape, or form this is a competition. I have three short boxes of comics, and one of them is my TBR box.
Yeah, it's good to always have something to read. I have thousands that I've yet to read, and I give them away for free comic book day or for Halloween. I'm always happy. I have, hundreds of copies of some of my favorite issues that I buy. Anytime I see them in a quarter bin, I will buy that exact same issue again, just so I can give to other people and give the gift of comics. So it promotes literacy, it promotes culture, it promotes just a love of our comics. And if you don't pass it on to somebody, it's going to die out. Like this is a potential whole medium that could die out in the next couple decades as kids don't read anymore. They just want to be on their phones all the time. They don't read comics. They don't understand.
Right.
They don't understand the classics. Unless you're teaching someone to appreciate things, they will go away. And we are seeing a generational shift here. It's extremely important to cherish our past and our culture. Otherwise, it goes away.
That is, wow, we're getting very deep here on this show. But hey, we tend to do that once in a blue moon. And by the way,
shallow
yeah.
conversation.
Exactly. And then when you consider also the whole AI situation,
Oh yeah.
like that.
And they're rewriting, they're editing history, they're editing media, they're changing it as they like. And it's like, no, the classics must persist. You cannot censor or change what has been the artist's original intention. You can't Claremont, he was edgy at the time. And nowadays, a lot of people take issue with some of his storylines. It's like, no, these are his babies. He invented these people. You cannot trifle with the past.
Right. I mean, but he's still around and he gets sassy.
You can't tear down the monuments of history. It's not okay.
Well, he's going to be at a convention I'm going to later on this year, and I'm going to have him sign. I'm going to have him sign my X-Men God Loves Man Kills trade paperback.
Are you going to the
Uncanny Experience in Minnesota?
I never even heard of this. What is this?
X-Men only convention in September of this year that we're going to in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it's going to be Claremont's going to be there. All the voice actors are going to be there. Hundreds of cosplayers are going to be there. Our friends are running it, and it sounds like an awesome just whole weekend of nonstop X-Men. We were bringing like 5 or 6 of our X-Men character cosplays that we do. So it's gonna be my dream come true to live in the X-Mansion with a bunch of fellow mutants.
I'm doing Husk for the first time, so I'm excited.
My Chamber.
Yeah.
And we'll do Gambit and Rogue. We'll do Wolverine and Jean. I'll be Cyclops for a day. So it'll be cool. We'll work our way through all of our X-Men cosplays.
Right. I also have Domino, and I have oh my gosh, why can't I think of her name? The White Queen.
Yeah, you have Emma Frost.
Oh my God, my brain. I'm telling you.
Emma Frost, who shows up later in X-Men First Class.
I know. And she's so fun. Like she's
one of my favorites.
Yeah, she's really, really great. But we're excited because I'm like, okay, like let's do this.
Yes.
Wow, I didn't even know this was a thing. And it's unfortunate that I don't live closer to Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's home of the Twin Cities. Minneapolis, Minnesota, because I'm all the way down south in North Carolina. So
you
guys get a lot of great cons down there.
Dude, we got that's where Chris Cromont's going to be in what is it? Is it August? Is it August? August for GalaxyCon in Raleigh.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a great con too.
Yeah,
you guys get
that's where I'm going to be. Hi, GalaxyCon.
I always go to Dragon, and I get down that way a little bit for cons. So,
well, if you're ever in the great state of North Kakalaki, say hi to us.
I'll come through.
Say hi to me, man. We'll get together. We'll swap stories.
I say we'll be like, hey, so you
we're near you right now in North Carolina. You want to hang out with us? Yeah, sure. Let's go to a comic book store. Let's go.
That's my idea of a good time.
It really is. Actually, it was funny because we went to Florida this past December, January, and it was really cute because I couldn't come down for a few days, and like I'm like, oh, what'd you guys do today? He's like, we went to a comic book store. And I was like, it was amazing though.
I wanted to see the comics down there. They're definitely not the same comics at all. But we went to Universal Studios for 3 days. We went to Marvel Islands Adventure, X-Men Land. We met the X-Men cosplayers. We went to Harry Potter World. Like we did all that good stuff. But yeah, I always got to hit the comic shop. Where any new city I go to, I must see what they have.
Yeah, I know. But we have several friends that own toy stores, and it's like, you know, they have a lot of usually good comics, and they, you know, save
hook it up.
They save the good stuff.
Yeah.
Man, jeez, you're just oozing the nerd sweat. But by the way, some people are chiming in the chat. Dave Mattingly says, Disney rumor, this is rumor, not fact. Rumor says that Disney's may sell off its shares in Hulu to regain control of the Hulk character and Namor.
Wow.
I would love to get some more Hulk movies. That would be incredible.
Yeah, because the Incredible Hulk of 2008, which turns 15 next month, should have gotten more films, but we never got them.
I know.
Yeah, I think Eric Bana was a better Bruce.
I was gonna say, and it was just like, but it was a constant change every time that, you know, they had one. I mean, it's like a Batman situation.
Yeah. Well, Ed Norton was a great Bruce Banner as well, obviously, but
yeah, I love the Incredible Hulk movie. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's so good.
So underrated.
And really I'm excited for The Flash, not because of The Flash, but because it's going to be essentially a Batman movie.
Only reason anyone's going to see that movie.
Oh my God, Michael Keaton is my favorite.
Yeah,
he looks great. 35 years later, the guy still looks like he's in his prime.
I know. Oh my God, and I've always loved him. Like when he was Beetlejuice, and they're doing Beetlejuice 2. Ooh, guys.
Oh yeah.
Which I also cosplay. I cosplayed like 6 characters from Beetlejuice.
Seriously?
How we met. Because he did Beetlejuice group.
We did a big. We won the cosplay contest with our Beetlejuice group.
They did, and I was
Comic-Con.
like, and I had met one of the guys who was in it, but I didn't realize he was in it because he was in a different costume. And I was like, "Hey, did you see that Beetlejuice group yesterday? They were so amazing." He's like, "I was in that group," and I was like,
the tiny shrunken head guy.
And I was like, "Oh." He's like, "Would you like to do it with us?" And I was like, "Yes." So I literally made my kids. I built those the strength test meters.
Yeah.
And put them on our backs, and then I built the kids into tables, and they had like shrimp fingers.
Yeah.
We
had the sawn in half lady.
Yes.
We had the shrunken head guy. We had the witch doctor, and we got up on stage and we performed the whole waiting room.
It was
scene
so cute
live at Comic-Con, and it blew some heads off. People were.
Is there footage of this? Can I see this footage
on YouTube? I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, can you send that to me? Go ahead and send it to me when you get a chance. But anyway, you know, in the words of our good friend Magneto here in the movie X2, once again, you think it's all about you. Because
there's a great line here where they're talking about powers, and Magneto is you know, basically trying to seduce Pyro, I guess, into the dark side. And he's like, "You're like a god amongst worms."
Insects, yeah.
Right.
Never let anyone tell you different. Sorry, I watched this movie a few days ago, so it's still fresh in my mind.
Right. Well, but the reason he's a god amongst worms to him is that he's willing to go to these places that, you know, you shouldn't go.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in Star Wars or whatever.
This is Vader. Like, join me, Luke.
Exactly.
Dark side.
Yeah, planting the seeds. And it's funny you mentioned the waiting room scene, because that is what happens when she dies. That is what happens when he dies. Yeah. And that is what happens when they die. It's all very personal. And I'll tell you what, if I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have had my little accident.
Exactly.
I mean, anyway, I could go on that all day. But listen, Dave Mattingly says, I never actually thought of giving out comics on Halloween. That's actually a wonderful idea.
Yeah, I just think it's different, you know, candy rot their teeth. I'd rather blossom.
Give him some Uncanny X-Men, why don't you?
Right. And then, or also like just giving out regular books too.
Yeah.
You know, because in a different place, like, so you just put out like bins of like this stuff,
like small neighborhood library birdhouses full of comics.
But when you do it for Halloween, it's like very cool because they could just come and like, they want a comic, take a comic. If you want a book, take a book. Yeah. You know, it's just like, I don't know. To me, I think that's a wonderful thing too.
I mean, but I always tell people life is better when reading.
I agree.
I'm a better person for having read thousands.
I love reading. Like
books.
when you can just get absorbed in these universes or these places, it's just amazing. But then I never liked the movie as much as the book. And I think that's one reason too I don't read the Star Wars things, because I'm like,
There's a lot of them.
there are a lot.
But there are some good standalone books that won't damage your love of the films, because, and I can send you the link of this a little bit later on here in the backstage area of your studio. There is a list from utini.com that gives you you don't have to go by exactly what they're saying, but they give you a suggested list of, here's the way we have read these Star Wars books in a certain order, and they're different eras of the Star Wars galaxy in different places. But at the same time, you don't have to read them in any particular order. You read them however you want to go about it. But I've gone through this guide, and it's really helped me with my Star Wars reading experience.
Yeah.
I can send it to you a little bit later on in the backstage area of the studio. But anyway, not to get too far off the rails here, but Dave Mattingly says, I really liked Vinnie Jones' performance as the Juggernaut in X3.
Oh, that was amazing.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut. You know? By the way, Dave Mattingly says, I've never actually seen a shrunken head guy cosplay from Beetlejuice before.
It is fantastic. And
hilarious,
he's so good. He's got like, the little guy just like up there, and he has his little
and
like
his head is inside the chest, peeking out through a buttonhole.
Yes, he's like so amazing. Oh my god. And then I love I've done Beetlejuice, and I've done Delia and Sandworm, and like a lot. I'm obsessed with Beetlejuice. It's just so amazing.
We're missing some hot stuff here.
Oh yeah. Ooh, they're making out.
Yeah, I'm just curious, because this is something that always kind of baffled me going into this movie. For X2, the 20th anniversary watch along here at Nerd Culture Channel. Don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. Once again, thank you to everybody in the chat and everybody here on the round table known as panelists. And also, if you have any thoughts about this movie, positive or otherwise, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat, whether it's watching us live or in the replay. But I'm always curious, why does Mystique try to seduce Logan? Why does she have a thing for him all of a sudden?
I think she's just into head games.
Yeah,
she is a psychological warrior, and she likes to dismantle and just mess with everyone, because she can. That's her gift. She can become and mess with people's emotions. And I don't understand why Wolverine's heightened senses didn't pick up her correct. Can she change her scent? How do you know? I guess it would ruin a really interesting moment here, because you're reading Wolverine's feelings for each of these characters she's changing into. And it's pretty interesting. Like Stryker, she messes with his head, and Jean, she messes with his head, and he's dealing with weighing all these emotions. That's such a clever short scene that conveys so much of his reflections on other characters, how much he cares about Rogue. He's got a fatherly relationship with her. He's sexually attracted to Jean. He despises Stryker, but he wants it to know about his past. Like that covers in 10 seconds 10 or 4 dozens of different emotional states. It gets you inside Wolverine's head, and he's not a guy who talks about his feelings. So it conveys a lot of information.
But I think it also shows you how powerful Mystique is. Like how she could just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think that actually before she had her powers taken away, she was one of.
She's insanely
it's insane.
Her potential for mayhem is massive.
Well, and the thing is she's also brilliant. She's not an idiot.
She's a strategic
she can go and figure all thing things out. She doesn't just she's just not a pretty face.
Yeah.
She can do all these things, and I love that about her character.
And here we are here in X2. We just passed the scene where they're on the jet, and he does a speech where you're a god among insects, and when everyone tell you different. Now we're back at the base of Alkali Lake, and the guys are telling him, hey, the new Cerebro you want us to build, it's all built to your specifications. Good. By the way, why did you capture all these kids, sir? I'm a scientist, Sergeant Lyman. If I'm going to use a machine, I want to make sure that it works. So that's where we are in the movie, for those of you wondering where we are in X2.
Right.
It was actually really good. I agree.
Yeah. I never knew who Brian Cox was until I saw this movie, so he's a heck of an actor. And boy, he's good at playing a villainous son of a you-know-what that you want to punch in the face all day long. And by the way, Dave Mattingly chimes in. He says, I once saw a woman cosplay as the character known as Juggernaut at Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia. I asked her if she was the Juggernaut blank.
Yep. You gotta.
That's awesome, though. I mean, that's what I would be saying all day. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Yeah.
You gonna let me out here? I gotta pee.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm B word.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We can drop one or two during these presentations, but we do try to keep things family friendly here in the neighborhood of make believe.
Yes. But yeah.
Sorry.
Brian Cox is a great villain, and
he's so good as this villain.
Yeah. I know. He's like, and he's very unusual looking, like the way his cheekbones are, and like
He's like a genteel Southern gentleman,
Yes, he
but
is.
he's also
And-
menacing as hell.
exactly.
That's a
And
fair.
You kind of
He's
love
an evil Colonel Sanders.
exactly 100%. You kind of love to hate him though, you know. That's I mean, in these movies he doesn't really like have too many redeeming qualities, but well, this movie anyway.
Yeah.
I know he was like in the last one, like a little bit,
Barely.
really. So
Yeah. And by the way, Dave Manley says, I mostly think of the actor known as Brian Cox from the Jason Bourne movies.
oh, those are also great movies. I agree. And yeah, he's a great leader in those movies for sure. For sure. I love anything that's like kind of like espionage kind of.
And that's what we have here in X2 is
Exactly.
espionage. The
Exactly.
perfect spy mystique, breaking in, breaking it down. I
So
love
good.
Brotherhood and X-Men having to work together here for a second and just
I
seeing like,
know.
well, we could accomplish a lot more together here. We have a shared
Right.
common enemy. Why don't we join forces and work together?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
it's just super cool. Like as a kid, this did thrill me because
Right.
you so rarely got to see in the comics villains.
Them
Unlike
working
now in
together.
the current era of comics
Right.
where all the villains are on the X-Men team in Krakoa.
Right.
Back then, you never saw villains.
Except for the one episode of the He-Man She-Ra
They actually worked together with
like where
Skeletor.
Skeletor came and worked with them. That's like I remember that very clearly,
Yeah.
and it was amazing.
I haven't, unfortunately, I grew up in the 90s, so He-Man was a little bit before my time. But I'm just curious, who was the better Skeletor? Was it Alan Oppenheimer who voiced him or Mark Hamill in the most latest iteration of He-Man?
Alan Oppenheim is still the superior Skeletor.
He is.
Mark Hamill's gifted. He's the Joker for sure. But
Right.
Skeletor still goes to
I was gonna say,
Oppenheimer.
I agree. He was so amazing, but that's okay. That's okay. We still love Mark Hamill.
Oh yeah, for sure. I
Like-
love that he's in the new ads for Jedi Survivor, teaching Cal Kestis how to be a Jedi. It's such a good marketing campaign.
So cute.
Yeah.
Love it.
That was a funny ad, too. That just debuted earlier last week. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, a couple days ago. I just platinumed Fallen Order, so I am very much looking forward to platinuming Survivor as well.
Dave Manley says, don't forget Frank Langella as Skeletor at one point.
Oh yeah, Frank
yeah.
Langella is a great Skeletor. I
He
mean, he
was.
carried that movie on his back. I mean, Dolph Lundgren is a great He-Man for sure. It's not exactly one-to-one to the comics or the
But-
toys or the cartoons, but yeah, Langella is an amazing Skeletor. He killed it.
Oh yeah. I don't know, but yeah, that's amazing.
I feel like we're running it feels like we're on the wheel of Vegas or Wheel of Fortune where we spin something and it lands on a different fandom every time we start talking. Honestly, I feel like I'm just spinning the wheel of nerdom here, guys. Honestly.
That's
just
the
like
problem
talking
with
about-
liking so much stuff. It's
That's
just like
true.
I mean, I have my fandoms, but I mean, my gosh, you your lifestyle is just of like 50,000 fandoms a day in a 24-hour period. I'm thinking, dude, I'm just sitting here reading my Star Wars novels, bro. I'm sitting here in my Fortress of Solitude, just reading my books.
I do love reading. Like I said, right now I'm reading like some Stephen King stuff. So
Oh, there you go.
I enjoy, but I usually don't like nonfiction. I find it to be a little dry.
Fiction is my favorite. I'll take fiction any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
fiction.
It can be, but it has to be well written though.
Yeah.
You can't just be like,
Yeah.
on this day this happened, and on this it's like, no, this is like, if you write nonfiction in a way that's beautiful and interesting, I would like to read it. Otherwise,
I get enough
no,
reality
thank
in
you.
the real world. I will stick to
Yeah,
fiction
that's
all my
That's
free
true.
time as much as
And
possible.
that's
You know,
true.
Reality
There's-
is free on me at all.
there was a poster on Amazon.com, hashtag not a sponsor, that says, "A book a day keeps reality away."
Yep.
Ain't that the
That's
truth?
what comics are for. That's what movies are for.
Mhm.
It's a
And-
beautiful-
and
Book.
That's one wonderful thing about comics though, is like we were talking about just yesterday or a couple days ago, how it's just the perfect like nighttime read. Like
yes.
you just grab a comic, you read it, and like by the time you're done, you're about to be asleep, and it's perfect. You know, and then plus it like, even if it's super interesting, it has an end. Versus if you start reading a book that's 500 pages
gotta
and then
go
you start to
forever.
get into it,
Yeah.
and then you're like, I have to stay up all night and finish it. because it's so good. I mean, I'm never sad about that, but also like I am sad because then I'm tired the next day.
That's why, I mean, depending on how you look at it, the list I'll send you here in the backstage area of the studio for from utini.com, a group of Star Wars experts who assembled this book or list of books you should read. I'm glad that they tell you whether it's a standalone or if it's part of a continuing or ongoing series, because to me, I'm thinking to myself, give me the standalones, because I'll read, if it's a trilogy, that's one thing, but if it's like more than 3 books, I'm like, it's too much. I prefer to keep things a bit more simpler that way, but that's just the way I roll. I can't speak for everybody in the world, but I'm reading the standalone novels right now, which thank goodness, because there's a lot that happens in these standalone novels.
Oh, I'm sure. And I'm sure they're amazing.
I saw the sales spike on the Thrawn trilogy because as soon as they mentioned Thrawn and Mandalorian, people knew what was coming next with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And everyone is now boning up and actually going back and reading books, and it's great to see. It's like, yes, read some books, kids.
Yeah, you know, in the words of that television show that all 3 of us, and maybe the person who's watching or listening to this watched as well, way back when, all you gotta do is take a look. It's in a book. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, reading Rainbow.
Right. That's right. See, someone caught the reference. I mean, I knew we were gonna catch the reference anyway, but yeah, there you go.
Well, you have to love reading Rainbow. Come on.
By the way, I've had the pleasure of meeting Reading Rainbow himself, LeVar Burton. I actually had him sign a Reading Rainbow book that I had since I was a itty bitty little child. He signed the inside cover on it, and it actually it wasn't a sticker, but it was like already something that was already on the book that says a Reading Rainbow book. And when I showed it to him, he knew exactly what episode that was. He knew exactly where he was where they were filming it. He knew exactly what the premise of the whole. I mean, like, he remembered an episode that's 30 plus years old. And I looked at LeVar and I said, "You remember all that?" He's like, "Oh yeah, that was the California Starlight. I took an overnight train ride on that one."
Steel Trap.
That's amazing. Yeah. I love that. That's beautiful. The only thing I have to ask, was it a scratch and sniff? Sticker.
The sticker or the book?
The sticker.
Oh, the sticker. Oh, the sticker was no, it wasn't.
No, I'm just kidding. That was just like so popular at that time.
No, it wasn't scratch and sniff. I'm sorry, it wasn't one of those. But but no, he signed it, and I was so grateful to him to do that, and he was appreciative of it too. And then we took a selfie together. And yes, it is on my social media, so feel free to check it out. And by the way, the banner behind him, yes, it has his face on it, but it also has the Reading Rainbow logo, and it kind of shows up in our selfie. And I'm like, yes.
It's a deep cut. Now you just need your book it pin.
Oh my gosh!
All your stars.
Exactly. Oh, and also all the Domino's. Did you guys get free Domino's?
It was Pizza Hut.
Oh, we have Pizza Hut.
We got free personal pan pizzas.
Yes, the personal pan pizzas.
This was the early '90s, though. This was like 1994.
I know.
Yeah.
Like
the
what?
Good old days.
So we're probably a little older.
Yeah, no offense. Age is just a number, but I grew up in the '90s and I was born in '87. There you go.
Okay.
Yep. You're a couple years younger than us.
I was gonna say earlier '80s.
Yes.
It's okay. We're all young whippersnappers.
Yeah.
But you know what? The lotion. Just the lotion thing, and you'll be good.
That's what keeps me so young. Yeah. After all these years, I still look like I'm 15. It's great.
Exactly. But yeah, stay out of the sun, because I actually had skin cancer on my face. So be careful.
I was not aware of this, but yeah. So yeah, LeVar Burton was one of my favorite celebrity encounters I had at a convention. I mean, I was already planning on meeting him at some point anyway, because I've had that book for so long, and it's like, dude, if I get to meet him, I got to have him sign it.
Well, he's back in Picard season 3 lately.
Yeah, he came back. They all came back. Every single one of them came back. So
everyone except Will.
Oh yeah, fetch me, Will Wheaton.
Everyone except Wesley. Wesley was the only one who was not there, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I haven't seen Picard, so I wouldn't know. But
but
no spoilers.
When they had the Star Trek convention,
we went to the Star Trek convention
which we
last
loved.
year, and it was awesome. A lot of them were there.
And so one of the days we dressed as Lego
Spock
and
yeah.
And so because they don't have Lego figures of them, so I was like, I'm making these. And so we did, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Everything is awesome. There you go. When I think of Legos, that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
No, it's perfect. I love that song. So
okay, Nightcrawler's rescuing the other mutant children here.
I know that part is so
I love that they're
sweet.
afraid of him, but he is there to rescue them. Like, even if people fear you or dislike you, you can still don't hate them back. You still try and save them in whatever way that you can. I love his just like his goodness.
And not only that, Dave Mattingly brings up an interesting point here, and this is kind of on the Reading Rainbow track. He says, Ryan, I think you'd like the Dresden Files series of novels by Jim Butcher.
Dresden Files is awesome. Like, it's funny, but that series gets brought up so much. A lot of people listen to it at my old job on Book on Tape or audio, and they always would mention like the Harry Dresden stuff. They're really cool, like magical mysteries and weird sci-fi stuff. But yeah, I've heard nothing but good things.
That's awesome.
By the way, Dave Mattingly says, Wheaton tweeted a little while ago that as a traveler, he was not allowed to contact his family.
What?
Wow. Yeah. That's an episode. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well, good for him.
Yes.
Oh.
And I'm just like looking at, the movie right now. And
yes, of course.
It's like dripping and everything, like everything's starting to get destroyed. But I just like think that the way that they designed his lair is so good.
It's a great villainous lair under a lake, the Weapon X facility, and
like no one would find it.
It's completely destroyed this dam that they way to build a huge prison inside of a dam where mutants are using explosive powers.
Exactly.
It's a great idea.
Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Well, they never expected them to come there.
Yes, we are watching X-Men 2 right now. We're working our way through all the X-Men movies chronologically, live watches. Thanks for hanging out. But yes, we are about 3/4 of the movie here, and Cyclops just rescued Jean Grey, and they are breaking out of the Weapon X facility. If you care to watch along at this point,
right?
Boy, I just gave Gambit and Jean my job. What do they need me for? I don't even need to be in the studio. I could just take my leave right now.
Oh, stop!
We wouldn't do it without you. That's the thing.
We couldn't do it without you. It wouldn't be fun.
No,
it's true. It's true. That's why I try to have three people on the panels when it comes to movie anniversary watch-alongs. You get to play off people's personalities that way.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
And the energy is good too with just 3 people in the studio.
A rope of 3 strands is better than 2.
Exactly.
Hey, was that a Three Ninjas reference?
It's a Three Ninjas reference.
That it is, but it's also actually a God reference.
Okay. Not get on the soapbox again, but yes. Oh, by the way, and because the grandfather says in the movie Three Ninjas, 4 strands of rope because it's him and the kids, right? So it's 4 of them.
Rocky loves Emily.
Rocky, and it's funny. It's so funny. I wish that this never happened when the movie originally came out way back when in the early '90s when I was watching it as a young child. Right. But later on in my life, I started going out with somebody who was named Emily.
And you're like,
so, and then my friends
Rocky. You would have.
That's the thing. Like no one. I mean, only my brother dropped that on me because that was when we were together. Because I have 2 older brothers, right? I have 2 older brothers. So he would drop that on me, but none of my other friends really got that reference, and no one said Ryan loves Emily. Like they wouldn't do the whole shebang. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, you guys missed a perfect opportunity when we were in high school, bro.
No, that's awesome. But my favorite line in that movie though is, "Hello, we're not here to hurt you.
We just want to kidnap you." And he's wearing the Domino's pizza jacket. And he's like, all right, guys, fan out.
Freaking love that movie. It's so ridiculous.
I'm glad I'm not the only person in the world who loves the original Three Ninjas.
That was the best one. That was the best one.
That's incredible.
I have a soft spot, not to get on the outside of the X2 box here, but I actually like Three Ninjas Kickback.
No, Kickback's also good.
Yeah,
but then when you go to
Thunder Mountain or whatever is the one.
High Noon at Mega Mountain, and then there was Three Ninjas Knuckle Up. Those 2 films are garbage. They're garbage.
The second one was also cute. The second one was also good.
Yeah, Three Ninjas Kickback with Mio. Yeah. Remember Mio?
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
it was great.
Totally.
That was good because he was like, Rocky has a new girlfriend. She's not my girlfriend, okay?
Poor Rocky.
Speaking of deep cut flashbacks, Wolverine is having a flashback to his Entium infusion process right now.
And Lady Deathstrike just reveals her claws, and Logan drops the holy blank.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, we in the theater were thinking the same thing. When she pulled out her claws as Lady Deathstrike, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is insane.
I know. She is pretty awesome.
She has no lines in this movie. I think she only has like 2 lines in the whole movie. And this is Kelly freaking Hugh from the Scorpion King.
Well, because they don't want to pay her, I think.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, because correct me if I'm wrong, this was in the animated series. I don't know if this is related to the comics. Weren't Yuriko and Logan in a relationship?
They were. Yep.
Okay, so I'm not crazy when I said to myself, why didn't they hint that there was a romantic relationship between Yuriko and Logan in this movie? I don't know why.
Probably.
I guess it would have been too much backstory to go into his samurai days, the Paul Smith Claremont issue 170.
I would have liked to have seen it though.
But also the fact that he doesn't remember anything, I think they were just like, look, it's just like this immediate, like, we're fighting. Like, and plus they just want this cool fight scene between two people who have the same power. Like, you know.
Yeah.
She's slightly more powerful than him because those claws are no joke.
Yeah. I know.
I would have preferred a Sabretooth fight here, but we got him in a weaker form in the first movie, so it's cool. And plus, she is really cool looking, and her moves are great. So
it's very Matrixy.
Yeah.
Before the Matrix.
Oh, this was right after the first Matrix.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. It was when the sequels came out, I think.
99, and this is like 2000.
I mean.
Yeah, she's pretty vicious in this movie, and this battle sequence, this fight sequence here is pretty brutal, even though there's barely any blood being shed.
He feels sympathy for her, but she has healing powers too.
Right, and she also has a more evil side, I think, than.
Oh yeah, well, she's being mind controlled, as all the mutants under Stryker's power.
Yeah, I wonder what would have happened if she wasn't under his control during this fight scene.
Yeah.
They just talked it out.
Well, right, exactly, and then they actually, because he wouldn't want her to know that they had a previous relationship. Like he wouldn't.
Well, she remembers it all, and that's why Wolverine in the comics is always trying to get to her and make peace with her, because he wants to know what they had. He knows they had something, that she has revenge because her father was the scientist who came up with the adamantium infusion process. So she's trying to reclaim his work by taking him out.
Man, she is stabbing him in the back here. This is not pretty.
No,
All he has to do is take a itty bitty little syringe and just stick it.
Yep.
Yeah, but it is a great. Oh God, when he
you want the adamantium back?
When he does that, like the most insane thing. I was like, oh my Lord.
Crazy death scene. Just injects her with 500 gallons of adamantium and she just drops.
I know. And then you just hear the clunk. And you're like,
because it's so heavy. It's a lot of metal.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You still look good, girl.
Pretty good.
Even though she drops to the floor in the pool of water. But anyway, our good friend Dave Mattingly says, Three Ninjas was a good film, but I actually preferred Surf Ninjas with Ernie Reyes Jr.
Surf Ninjas is awesome.
I did not see that.
Oh, you've not seen this? It's nowhere near as good as Three Ninjas, but it is funny.
I was obsessed with that movie.
I love ninja movies.
Well, Ernie Reyes Jr. is in it. Leslie Nielsen plays the antagonist in the movie.
Oh my God, I love Leslie Nielsen.
Well, if you want to see the movie, I think it's on HBO Max or maybe streaming somewhere there, Gambit. You may want to look that up.
Movie I loved as a kid, actually. Totally off track. Space Camp. Space Camp.
My brothers grew up on that movie, by the way.
Oh my God. And it made me want to be an astronaut.
Yeah, my brother loved it.
Like, I'm gonna be an astronaut. Like, that's all I wanted to do. Like,
as long as my fellow astronaut is played by Leah Thompson, sure, I'll go into space.
Exactly. I'm like, it's gonna be perfect. It's fine. Look at them. They don't know what they're doing. It's fine.
And as long as you avoid cosmic phoenix entities, I'm gonna okay you going into space, babe. Fine.
Okay. Cool. I'm down. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm just not amazing at math. I'm okay at it. So I think maybe they won't accept me into their program.
That's just. Man, by the way, I haven't seen the movie Space Camp in so long.
I know. So good. I don't know. I think about it all the time. It's like, goodbye, Max.
Yeah.
I'll see you later. Whatever.
Oh, and also I'm obsessed with ET. We went to Universal Studios and I love Harry Potter. I loved all the stuff. My favorite thing was the ET ride because it was like so nostalgic.
No kidding.
E.T.
Phone home.
I haven't seen that movie in years either. I haven't seen E.T. the Extraterrestrial in a hot minute.
Oh God, it's so good.
Years.
I was so mean when I was a kid. I wasn't actually mean, but my brother was actually mean, and so I told him that E.T. lived in our alley. So he didn't want to ride his bike over there because he was so mean to me all the time. I'm like, he lives in our alley, and he was like, what? And I'm like, oh yeah, I wouldn't go over there if I were you.
I was curious. I saw these sequels to a little indie film called Jaws, and in Jaws 3, Leah Thompson is actually in that movie, and I had no idea she was in it.
Did she die immediately?
No, she doesn't. She actually makes it through the entirety of the film.
I don't remember Jaws 3 then. I
Yeah,
definitely
I
Jaws
think
1
too.
for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How could you not?
They made Jaws 2, 3, and Jaws 4 The Revenge. Jaws 4 The Revenge, I watched 5 or 10 minutes of it, and I thought, yeah, this is a piece of hot garbage. 2 is all right. 3 is actually okay, too, even though they're trying to play around with the 3D quality of it because it was called Jaws 3D, and it was specifically made to be a 3D experience film, but there's no 3D version of it available on physical media, hence, why Gambit and I were talking so much about how big a deal physical media is.
Important.
But Leah Thompson's in the movie as a love interest for one of the younger characters. I'm thinking, Leah Thompson in the 80s. Okay, she was in every film under the sun from Universal. Well done, Leah Thompson.
And you know what? She's great. I've met her and she's kind.
Oh, she is?
When she had so the guy who played this was at there's a theater by me.
Yeah.
And so they did like a whole Back to the Future event. The only one who didn't come was Michael J. Fox. So I'm like, I have to meet him. But so the God, what's the actor who played the principal was there?
Oh, James Tolkien.
Yeah. So he's like this much older man, and she's like there, like rubbing his back, like just making sure that he's taken care of. And she's like, she was so empathetic. I'm like, you're amazing. Like, I'm like, I love this woman.
Nice person.
Yes. So she's amazing. So I'm happy she did movies.
Hopefully, I'll get to meet her and James Tolkien because I want James Tolkien is so good because seeing him back to back in Top Gun and Back to the Future trilogy is so good.
And Christopher Lloyd's also very cool.
I've had the pleasure of meeting Christopher Lloyd. Very nice man.
Yeah, totally. Have you seen Santa Jaws?
No.
It is a terrible horror movie about a shark
who can only be defeated. Can I give it away?
Yeah.
Can I give it away?
Yeah. Gonna watch it.
Okay, who can only be defeated by weapons that have that are like Christmas related weapons. Yeah. He has that on his fin. I kid you not, a Santa hat
on his fin.
On his fin.
It's terrible.
And
we watch a lot of bad horror movies.
Oh, we do because those are the funnest.
Because they're cheesy.
Like Alana.
And we make a lot of dumb movies too, so it's like right up our alley.
We made a movie about it, the Dianaga, the trash monster.
Oh my God. Yeah. Did you see all the Sharknado movies?
Oh yeah, I've seen them all.
He loves them. He did
I played as a Sharknado 1 year for his school.
But I cosplayed as the garbage monster, Dianaga.
Really?
Star Wars, yes.
Yes.
Wait a minute, what was the character's name again?
The Dianaga?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a giant box covered in garbage, and then it had like the eye that would come out, and like Periscope. It could just like move back and forth.
Yeah.
And it was really fun.
Wow, it's icky, but at the same time, these are fun facts. So I appreciate that. But my goodness.
Yes, the weirder the better. I'm like, ooh, how like crazy can you get?
Yeah, she wants to be that pretty lady in a monster costume.
That's why I want to do like mukbang. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
It's gonna be super gross and like, but amazing because people don't do mukbang.
He's not done.
Right.
Simply undone.
Yeah.
Jeez. Boy, how does it feel, bub? Well, look, I just gave you claws. You were an animal then. You're an animal now. So, Stryker's giving Logan the 411, but the dam is ruptured and things are about to implode here, and water's about to spill into the spillway.
Bear with me just 1 minute.
Yeah, I love that. Things come full circle. There's no plot threads left untied here, and Wolverine does get his revenge on Stryker, and Magneto rescues Charles. Like, there's a great ending to all of these character arcs, and there's so many mini little stories going on throughout this whole movie. There's not just one big plain story. There's a lot of different character aspects that are resolved actually definitively. It's very cool.
You're a survivor. Like me. Anyway, this is the X2 X-Men United 20th Anniversary Watch-Along at Nerd Culture Channel. Don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. If you have any thoughts about this movie or anything about X-Men in general, whether it's the movies, the comics, anything else, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay, thank you so much for being with us. And thank you once again to our lovely panelists who are just full of oozy, weirdo nerd sweat, and they're a fan of every single fandom that's under the flippin' Sons of Tatooine, to the point where I don't even feel qualified to be in this studio, but apparently I'm still here, so I must be doing something right.
No, I think that's awesome.
You're running the show. Someone's got to run the show.
I know. And, the funny thing is, not funny, but actually, and once again, I'll thank our viewers for this. We have surpassed over 800 subscribers on this channel. So thank you to each and every single one of you who has subscribed to this channel. We are going to, our goal is 1,000. Once we do, we're going to throw the biggest party you've ever seen in your lives. We're going to have returning people. We're going to have special guests. We're also going to have special giveaways that may or may not include maybe some Uncanny X-Men comics from our friends here. Hey, you want to donate some comics to a good cause? Hey, why not donate some comics for our giveaways? Who knows?
Let's do it.
Yes,
let's go.
I agree. Or artwork. Joey does amazing artwork.
You do artwork? That's even better. You're gonna have to show me some of your work here in the minute here on the backstage area.
I'm disappointed. I do paintings. I like paint.
You're a painter?
Bags and coats and like leather painting.
To be a cosplayer, you have to combine all the disciplines in mediums of art: sculpting, 3D printing, painting, crafting, wire work, electronics, and so all of my illustration skills have gone into designing all of my costumes. And same thing for all your painting skills. Like we both have skill sets that we bring and share.
Yes.
She can sew anything, like my Batman cape. So it's good to combine our powers, just like the X-Men, to achieve our dreams and goals.
Yes. Very lucky. Like literally, you're the perfect partner.
Superpowers.
Wonder Twin powers activate. Sorry, that's a DC reference. But Dave Mattingly says, Ryan, you're out, Kermit. Okay. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. I'm out, Kermit. All right, thanks.
You're out, Kermit. Kermit the Frog here.
Yeah. I've met Kermit too. I've met Steve Whitmire, who was the puppeteer and the voiceover of Kermit for 30 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. You know what he did for me? He signed my Muppet Christmas Carol and Muppets Treasure Island DVD sets.
Yes. My favorite. I love
Big Bird guy.
By the way, I met Carol Spinney a few months, if not a year or so before Carol Spinney passed away.
I love the Great Muppet Caper.
Yes.
That is like one of the best ones. I love when they're pouring the barbecue sauce on the bars, and then animals eating through the bars.
Eat through the prison bars.
It's like
animal. Why don't you see if you can eat through these iron bars? Eat the bars. Also, by the way, the what is it called? The flinging fish guy. He says, "Here's the paper towels."
Oh, I know. He's so good. Like I love that movie so much, and I love the Muppets.
The Muppets Take Manhattan.
Yes, Muppets Take Manhattan.
Let's go to Broadway.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
We're going to Broadway, guys. We're going to Broadway.
Is that the one with John Cleese?
No. John Cleese is Muppet Caper. Muppet Caper.
Muppet Caper. Yes. Oh
he makes a cameo.
That part is so funny, and they're like talking about, they don't even know who their help is. They're like, I don't know, like it's just a pig in the house. It's fine. I think I out back in the day. I don't remember.
Yes.
Nightcrawler. There's the place called the Dubonnet Club. It's a supper club. See, this is what I'm here for, ladies and gentlemen. This is why they call me Ryan the Quote for a reason. I can quote movies better than most of the human population.
Some deep cuts. Yeah.
They are, which is great. I love it. And
this is the beauty in having an autistic brain. My mind is so sharp that I can remember movies after watching it once or twice. The whole script goes right into my noggin.
That's
I'm the same way with jingles, names, faces, details. Yes, visual details.
You're better at certain. See, you got that. Whereas I'm better at the movie part. You're better at like remembering the faces, the names. I'm good at remembering people's faces, but not so good at the names.
Yeah. At the moment someone tells me their name, in fact, my brain literally dissolves it. I immediately I'm like, oh.
It's like Thanos is snapping his fingers every time he meets somebody.
But the worst is when you have met someone so many times that you should know their name, but you still don't.
Oh,
and
that's
you're like, oh, yikes. Hey, you.
That's a problem.
You're awesome.
One of these days I'm going to have to fix that. But Dave Mattingly says New Zealand is the Boomerang Fishman's character name. Oh, New Zealand. Okay.
I love that. I never knew that. Oh my gosh, I know.
I have guaranteed fish. I float a fish and it comes right back to me.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Those movies are so good. And I've also gone down the rabbit hole like on like YouTube where you start watching one Muppet song, go to another one and another one. And like the Swedish Chef has some really great stuff.
Oh, your puppet corn is 3D. No, dude, that's not how 3D works. Oh, never mind.
Your puppet corn is birdie, birdie, birdie. I love it. Okay, right now we're at Cerebro.
Yes. Where are we in this movie again? Because I can't help but think of
We're
myself as
watching
a Muppet.
Cerebro is it originally was being used to kill all the mutants in the world by Stryker, and then Magneto rearranged the panels to make it so Professor X is killing all the humans in the world.
Right.
And
but now Storm has stormed in.
Frozen out Mastermind or Jason here so that he can no longer manipulate Charles into killing all the humans in the world psychically.
Right.
Which just goes to show how insanely powerful Professor X is, that he is a weaponized mind on the astral plane that could take out every mind on the planet if he so chose, but he is fortunately one of the good guys.
Right. Right.
Nice suit, by the way, Patrick Stewart. He always wears the best suits in these movies.
He really does.
Yeah,
he really does. But it's like, it is crazy, like how he always tried to like help.
Even the villains, he is sympathetic towards.
Right. I mean, because he did try to help.
Yeah.
Stryker's son.
Yeah.
You don't want to go that way. Trust me. Logan just saved everybody's behinds by getting flooded.
Well, and Nightcrawler just saved everybody by, like, you know,
getting them out of the chamber and getting them out of Cerebro.
But and also, I think maybe the son. He was basically lobotomized and only used for like that purpose, which is so sad.
It's pretty dark.
How could you do that to your own child?
That's basically what the Weapon X program is. It's just they don't have any regard for people's lives. Everyone is just to be used and weaponized. And
I can't even imagine.
Fun fact: Jubilee is in this movie too. She's one of the kidnapped kids.
Jubilee has a 1-second cameo in every X-Men movie and never does a thing.
Never does a gosh darn thing. Even in X-Men Apocalypse, when she has the yellow jacket, the shades, and everything else, she doesn't even use her powers.
Yeah, she doesn't. I like that. I love that mall scene in that movie, but with Quicksilver. But yeah, she's completely squandered. Maybe it's for the best. She is pretty annoying. I love Jubilee and Generation X, but yeah, I think she's better in the card. She works better in the cartoon where she's kind of the star of the show and the POV character.
She is. Because as we all remember, Night of the Sentinels, she was our entry point into the X-Men.
Yep.
And then the Sentinels walk in and they're like, hey, mutant, initiate capture. Mutant, capture, help. And then Gambit comes in and says, where are you going, Petit? Anywhere but here.
Instantly in love with Gambit and Rogue at that point. Just seeing Rogue flying around punching Sentinels and Gambit being all cool and seducing the card shop lady. And I was like, I love them.
I like this. I like solitaire, okay? Unless I got someone
to play with.
Exactly.
I remember one of his lines from the entire show.
Oh, you remember Night of the Sentinels like it were yesteryear? Yeah, so do I.
I love the cartoons.
By the way, I still have my Night of the Sentinels VHS tape, brother.
I have every single VHS tape from that show.
He does.
Do you? You have every single one of them? I'm jello of that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very cute.
Well, apparently Rogue just saved the day by landing the Blackbird in the middle of the snow.
Good old Rogue. I mean, Rogue in the comics is a pilot. She's got Carol Danvers inside of her, and Danvers was a pilot. So she, unfortunately in this version, she never encounters Danvers. Hopefully in the MCU version, we will get a Rogue that swipes Brie Larson, Captain Marvel's powers at some point. And that would be great. I would love to see it. I've heard rumors that in the Marvels, Rogue will be the Stinger villain.
Ooh.
But this could all be rumors and hearsay. Obviously there's a lot of rumors out in the mill. So, but I'd love to see it. That would be the one thing I would go see that movie for, is to see Rogue show up.
And Logan just threw away his dog tags. I'll take my chances with him.
Let the past die.
Someone will finish what I started, Wolverine. One day they will. And that person actually turned out to be Bolivar Trask in Days of Future Past.
Yeah, or the cyborg Reavers in Logan. They do get him eventually. It's just Wolverine just carries the entire franchise on his back, and
he really does.
I love Hugh Jackman. I love how strong Wolverine's character is. He is an easy one to follow through, but I just wish he hadn't stolen so much spotlight from my man Cyclops
and
Gambit. So many other X-Men deserve some time.
Right.
That it's just so Wolverine heavy. And I'm fine with this X2 being a Wolverine centric story, but then you got 3 Wolverine, one-shot
specific movies. Exactly.
Yeah, the solo trilogy for Logan.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, again, love it. I love Hugh Jackman. He is such an amazing actor. I think we're blessed to have him.
That casting could have gone a couple other directions, and I think they got the best results.
Mm-hmm. I think Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler in this movie was great.
Oh yeah,
he's fantastic.
I mean, the last time I saw him before this movie, I first met Alan Cumming as Boris. What? They posted on the internet.
Oh yes, of course, yes.
He was Boris in the great James Bond movie known as Goldeneye.
Yes, I loved that movie too.
Oh, yeah,
that was such an amazing movie.
All the Pierce Brosnan, 007,
yes, those
are
were
incredible.
so good.
Yeah.
Okay, see, the three of us we're simpatico here. Hey, look, we even shop in the same store. Hey, hermano. Yeah, there we go.
Exactly. Beetlejuice.
Boris the Hacker. What was his password?
Oh, you mean in the movie?
Yeah.
His password was chair.
Chair, yes.
To beat the puzzle because he was trying to, what was it, Natalia? Natalia was like, okay, what's the password? I'm not going to tell you.
Yep.
It's like, the chief of computers will call me a genius.
And then, of course, Xenia on the top. Famke Janssen. We brought it full circle.
Yeah,
exactly. Yes, that's right.
Movies. We did it.
Two Goldeneye alumni are in the exact same movie at the same time. That is awesome.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I love it.
By the way, your accent, Georgian? Oh, very good, Mr. Bond. You went to Russia. Not really. I used to drop in occasionally. Shoot in and out.
Yeah, no, she was amazing in that movie.
Yeah.
Like,
by the way, when her last name was Onatop,
yes.
we just kind of like stood back for a second. And we're like, wait a minute, let me think about that for a minute. Xenia. I got it.
Of course. And I mean, the fact that she could,
Yeah, it's the double entendre. Yeah.
That was like, I was actually like, wow, that's really cool.
Creepy, but at the same time, it's like, interesting way to kill a person.
Yeah.
Oh, it really is.
I think telekinesis is going to come in a little more handy here than thigh crunches.
I agree.
It's saving the day. So
here in X2, the mutants are trying to escape Alkali Lake, and now the dam is spilled and the water is spilling out, so the entire place is going to be flooded. Not unless Jean Grey can help it.
Yep. Shing.
And this is like the most development Scott and Jean's whole relationship has is the moment she dies. It's such a waste. This moment could have been pushed a handful of movies further down the line, I think. But
right, but again, they only thought they were going to make 3.
I guess at the time there were no movie series beyond any trilogies, so that's very much like an MCU convention that we've gotten 25 movies.
Right.
In a chronology that feed one into the other. So I'm so happy we got another bunch of X-Men movies and Wolverine movies, though. Like, if That's My Last Stand was such a heartbreaker because it was such a down ending.
It was very sad. But they're having more X-Men movies.
They will make more. It's probably about 4 years away, but we'll get them.
Dave Mattingly says in the chat, wouldn't have Xavier taken himself out of the new Cerebro to escape? I don't know, because unless he has his wheelchair, he's kind of tough there, isn't it?
Vile.
Yeah. And then also Dave Mattingly says, I am invincible. That's a Boris line from Goldeneye.
It's exploded and covered in liquid nitrogen. Yeah, exactly. Turned into a statue.
What just happened to Jean Grey? She vanished. She's gone. What? No!
It's the only way. Jean, you could just be in the ship doing telekinetic stuff.
I was thinking that too. I don't understand.
Get on the plane and do it there.
I
want to be closer to the water.
I need to be closer.
I actually started crying when this scene happened when I watched it last week.
It is very sad.
Because you do care and you feel the pain of Professor X, her father figure, and Cyclops, like her love, and Wolverine feels they all feel the pain. So it is a great moment, and it's insanely cool to see the Phoenix breaking out here. And you know, it's the closest approximation to how it was done in the comics. In the cartoons, they did it a little differently too. We've seen so many different takes of the Dark Phoenix, and even twice in the movies. So
and I think at that point, Professor X probably does know that she's not actually dead because he knows how powerful she is. But now she's going to be what he doesn't want her to be.
And even Nightcrawler coming in here with his sayings here is it's amazing stuff. So good. Very good stuff.
It leaves you something to think about in movies that usually just walk out with a rock and roll song. It's like, this one's going to stick with me for a couple days or the rest of my entire life.
Exactly.
Kind of like how they kicked off the movie Iron Man with AC/DC's Back in Black.
Oh, Iron Man was amazing though. That movie,
which just turned 15 the other night when we had our 15th anniversary watch along for that. That was a lot of fun with our good friend George Bueller of the Fanatic Forum.
Woo woo! Yeah, but that movie really did set up the MCU for success.
And
for
20 some years
sure.
later, I mean 20 some movies later, it's still
And
top 5
I mean,
best
and,
Marvel
and
movies.
Jon Favreau really changed that
Oh, yeah.
whole
What
entire.
the guy's done.
It's
Yep.
I don't even know. I'm like, did he sell his soul? Because everything he does is so good, or is he?
I think
like,
he's just old school.
Yes, he's so
He's from the
amazing.
days where it required actual talent to make.
Yeah.
I love him. Like, I loved him in Swingers. I loved him in exactly. It's like
I love that movie so much. I use the catchphrase all the time.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
use the catchphrase, "You're so money, you just don't even know it."
Yep.
It's like a big bear, man.
So much. Like, and just like, oh, she's a sweet little baby. She's a little baby. No, it's a great.
By the way, how long are you going to wait until you call your babies? 3 days?
Oh, you have to wait the 3 days.
You gotta wait 7 days.
Yeah, but
Girls,
But- ew, I ew.
7
You-
days.
it's just a philosophy.
But you
Well,
didn't-
not to get too personal here, but how long did you wait until the one person called the other? Did you wait 3 days like they did in the movie?
no.
we didn't hesitate. Like,
You didn't hesitate at all. You were like, "Dude, I'm calling this girl like tomorrow."
No, well,
you can't let a good thing go by. Don't waste time. Don't waste time. Never hesitate. To quote The Rock, Sean Connery from The Rock, never hesitate. You make it happen. You don't
yeah,
waste any time.
no, it was
Losers always whine about their best.
exactly.
Winners go
Go
home and
home.
get the prom queen.
Oh, queen. Yes,
Exactly.
exactly. Yes.
Then and
Carla was the prom queen.
Yes. Like, so the first night we were hanging out, like, I mean, we've been friends for what, like 3 years at that
Sure.
point.
before,
Yeah, and
Mhm.
we both had been out of relationships for about a year,
Sure.
like 8 months to a year.
Yeah.
And it was like you weren't even supposed to come over. We were supposed to do a photo shoot and it got canceled.
Kylo Ren and Rey
Yep.
photo shoot.
And it got canceled. And then it was like, oh, hey, do you want to just come over to my house? And it was like, okay. I didn't know if he was going to come. He didn't know if he was going to come. We had a couple other friends over. And it was just like that night we were dancing and laughing. And it just like.
And you were wearing your Nicolas Cage snuggie.
Yes, bodysuit. It was
Yeah.
all Nicolas Cage faces.
Yeah.
And well, basically then you just stayed for a few days.
Yeah, it was cool.
Oh
Great. It was easy.
Boy, and I thought the president of the United States talking to Charles Xavier about how this is an opportunity to start anew was something. But you guys in this lovey-dovey true Hollywood story,
Yeah.
I mean, not to get all lovey-dovey on this, but I'm loving hearing these stories.
Joey is my best friend. I mean, he's got his wolf pack.
You gotta have your team, your wolf pack,
Yep.
the boys, but put your lady first, like Cyclops and Jean Grey. I mean, love is the reason to go through life, like, and the things that you love should carry you through life. My love of X-Men has got me this far, and it has connected me to other wonderful people who share that love.
Yeah.
And so many of my friends and fans, this is the thing that we love together, and that brings us up to this moment, and
Yeah. And actually, like, that was one thing is like both of us were always crazy about doing a million costumes at cons, like, but we weren't like, together. So I'd be running this way and he'd be running that way. And I'd be like,
I'm we should just always
yeah.
do everything together.
Yeah.
And now we do. We play.
Yeah, now we do.
We watch
Now we do.
every movie. We go to every fandom. We cosplay every character, every fandom. We played all the video games, all the D&D games.
Yeah, and we work at a bar that's themed and just
Yeah.
everything, really.
Wow.
It's awesome.
Well, Mr. President, we mutants are here to stay. The next move is yours. We'll be watching. Now we're back at the mansion here on X2, the 20th Anniversary Watchalong, where they are grieving the loss of their teammate and very good friend, Jean Grey. And Professor Xavier is assuring them that, hey, she made a choice. She made it. She lived with it. She was ready to do it. She had to do what was right, and that's what she did.
Right.
But it's still hard, though, because both, obviously, we see here Logan and Cyclops are grieving.
Right. Of course.
But she made a choice.
Of course. And I
Why did
mean,
you have to leave the plane? Why? Why'd you leave the plane?
I mean, there's something said for stakes, and
Right.
someone does have to die.
No.
The plot has to be progressed to move forward, and they did set a lot up for Last Stand, which obviously they were going to do Dark Phoenix. It's it's the iconic, most well-known X-Men story, so they had to take Jean out and leave it as a big cliffhanger. This is kind of like Empire Strikes Back, there's
Yes,
big
it is.
heroes before Return of the Jedi, so the heroes have lost something dear to them. Han is frozen, and they've all had parts taken out of them. They suffered a
Right.
grievous loss, but
And also, I think
These feelings are what make this the best X-Men movie in my mind, because it covers the gamut of so many of the characters' hearts, their motivations, and what X-Men is all about. Like, this is the core of X-Men. All the other movies are kind of deeper cut stories and ideas and a lot of CGI candy and just introducing tons of characters. And this one really encapsulates, well,
and I
what
think,
is the heart of the X-Men? And this is it.
I think too, Jean, she didn't like have confidence in her power. Like, so she felt like she needed to be closer to the situation to actually make it happen.
That's true. She was always just flipping bowls around and doing small
or like
scale
when
stuff.
she couldn't keep the missiles from hitting the ship before. It's like,
Yeah.
I need to be out there. I need to do this, because if I'm just on this ship, I'm not going to have the power that I need. At least that would be my opinion on why she would.
I mean, she
be
risked it
closer to
all,
it.
so,
right?
yeah.
But she knew, like, that's kind of where she needed to be in order to have the confidence and the power to do so.
That's a good point.
I would have liked to have sat in on these lectures that Xavier is giving, because honestly, Patrick Stewart could read from a phone book, and I would think it's the best thing in the world.
Totally.
Such
Oh my
gravitas.
gosh. Exactly. Exactly. And whenever they do show little clips of him, talking about the things and like all the things on the board, you're like, wow, this is amazing. For sure.
Yes.
And yeah, now we get the big spiel that they've had in the first movie: mutation. It is the key to our evolution. It has enabled us to evolve from a single-celled organism to the dominant species on the planet. And ladies and gentlemen, we have hit the end credits sequence of X2, X-Men United, for the 20th anniversary watch-along. We have at the credits. We saw a hint in that water. We saw a little bit of a shadow that may be a sign of things to come, which it's open to interpretation about what we got in X3, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about X2, and I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every single one of you for joining us for the X2 20th anniversary watch-along. My goodness gracious. This was a lot of fun. Boy, did we sweat it out with our nerdum over here. I mean, Gina and Joey, my goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. You've got nerdy sweat all over your house, all over your studio, all over your family, all over the kingdom, wherever you guys are in the world. And I'm telling you, I respect the heck out of it. But other than that, now that we are at the end of this film, I want to ask both of you, and whoever wants to go first, feel free to chime in. After watching this movie known as X2 for its 20th anniversary, what are some thoughts on this film after watching it 20 years later? And on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give this movie?
Okay, thoughts versus when I saw it initially.
Yes.
I think when I was much younger, I was more like focused on like, ooh, the romance kind of thing, because I was like,
Sure,
you know what I mean, a younger girl. But now I really like respect the relationships and how they all grow together and how they all fight for each other and how they all like really, really, respect each other. So I think that to me is like the most amazing part. And I'm sorry, what was the second part of your question?
How would you rate it 1 to 10?
Oh, I would give it a 9.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love this movie. I love how well it holds up. I mean, this is a movie I'm not a guy that really needs to revisit films or rewatches movies a lot. I remember things and retain them so well in my mind, in my mind's eye. So, but this is a movie I've probably seen more times than any other in my life. I've probably seen this movie 20 times, and maybe my next closest would be, maybe 3 or 4 times I've watched a movie like Winter Soldier or Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. I love those movies dearly. Jurassic Park, Edward Scissorhands, those are some of my all-time favorites. But, this is a movie I'll always watch. I always enjoy it. It always takes me right back to my childhood. It holds up extremely well. I love that I can share it now with the next generation of X-Men fans, and they get it. They understand that it's superior to so many MCU movies and modern movies. And the heart is there. This completely sells you on X-Men and the concept. I mean, this is like Blink would be the first episode of Doctor Who I would recommend to people. I would say you could kind of skip X-Men 1 and go straight to this, and you could kind of get it, you'd enjoy it, and you'd come back for more. This is a 10 out of 10 for me.
Wow, my goodness, this movie is the one he's watched the most out of 20 billion movies that have been made in the history of mankind. This is the one he's watched the most. Why am I not bloody surprised? So with me, final thoughts on this movie. after watching it, we fast forward things 20 years later. This movie, 1, still holds up. 2, it's a great moral story. 3, I think it's a great analogy for whatever is going on in the world, whether it's classism, class warfare, people being mistreated, things going wrong, working together as a team, treating your enemies as fairly as you would, your friends, right? Love thy enemy. I mean, it says that in different parts of the world. So this movie holds up. I think it's definitely one of the better comic book movies that's been made in the entire genre, because I mean, let's not forget, in the bit of a 90s, there was a bit of a lull. And then in the 2000s, when X-Men and Spider-Man and all these other films started coming out, things were starting to be taken really seriously, that people realized, oh, we can take anything we see on a comic book and we can translate it onto the big screen just in a certain way. You got to go about it a certain way. This movie's great. If you've never heard of the characters of X-Men, great entry point, 100%. And also, Nightcrawler steals this movie for me. I think he's great. Alan Cumming's the man. I mean, he goes from playing a really sleazy computer programmer in one movie to play like this comic book character that didn't get a lot of love in the animated series, but like he's in his prime in this movie, and he just rocks it and shocks it like nobody's business.
Quite a feat too, like visually and technically. He is the most complex part of that whole film. That opening completely sells you and gets you right into the movie. It's such a great. It's the best opening scene by far.
And his entire like body being like tattooed and everything. It's like so lovely and beautiful. It is.
Everyone loves Nightcrawler. I don't know anyone that dislikes that character.
Yeah.
He's X-Men top 5, if not 3. So I love seeing him here, and I love seeing Colossus and Iceman in very good form as well. It's one of the few opportunities we get to. So.
This movie for me holds up. It's hard. Like if I had to rank certain X-Men films, obviously Days of Future Past is the best, because that's my favorite. Oh, yeah. But I think, gosh, man, X2 or the first X-Men would be my number 2 and number 3, because I connect with those films so much, and I love them. And I love them to a certain degree. Now that's not going to be for everybody, because all film is subjective. Let's be perfectly honest here. Yeah. But those are my top 3. But hey, for those of you maybe watching or listening to this, let us know your favorite X-Men movies and comics in the comments, whether you're watching this live or on the replay. Very curious to hear your thoughts. Scale 1 to 10 for X2. I think I got to go with a 9. Way back when I gave it a solid 8, but nowadays I'm like, you know what? This movie holds up, dude. You got some serious stuff going down in this film. And there's some funny stuff in here, too. I mean, Mystique doing some weird stuff. Yeah, 9 out of 10. Thumbs up. So that is going to do it for us here. Once again, thank you all for joining us. But what is it? Jean and Gambit, also known as, I think, Gina and Joey, if I'm remembering names correctly. I messed that up. No, I did remember correctly. Great. I get 2 thumbs up on my report card this week. Where can the person watching or listening to this follow you lovely people on social media and everything that you have coming up? What do you got?
Go ahead.
You can find me at Art of the Tin Man on everything. Facebook, Instagram. I post every day stories of our cosplay adventures, my art, movie reviews, because we do a ton of that too. So check us out, Art of the Tin Man.
Yes. And then I'm under Venerable Cosplay.
Yes.
That's pretty much where all my cosplay stuff is. Although at some point we are going to get a joint one, because it makes sense.
It'd be easier.
We keep talking about it.
Easier, yeah.
So yeah, but Art of the Tin Man. Buy some art of the Tin Man.
Art of the Tin Man.
So good.
Like it's Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And venerable, like honorable, but the old school word for it, cosplay. Yeah. So yeah, come follow us. We'd love it. And
we're all friends here.
Exactly. Yeah. And hey, if you're into costuming, we have cosplay
big cosplay group that we run.
Yeah.
We welcome all cosplayers of all kinds from around the world.
Right.
At this point, after the last decade of us doing it. So yeah, check us out. Chicagoland Cosplay Creations. Mm-hmm. We do all fandoms: DC, Marvel, Star Wars, even obscure niche stuff, anime stuff. So we do it all.
Right. And we're, not like exclusive. Like if you want to wear the same costume as someone else, it's okay.
It's cool.
The
more the merrier. It's all about the love of the game and sharing love with others.
And being kind to each other. That's the most important thing, I think.
Let's be kind.
Yeah.
Wow. I'll tell you what, those 2 for president. Anyway. Well, listen, this has been fun. Thank you to our guests for being with us. I will talk to you both here in just a moment. My name is Ryan of Nerd Culture. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. All the links to where you can follow our guests for this episode, as well as myself, are located within the description of this video. So make sure you check out these wonderful, sweaty nerd freaks of nature that are great friends of mine now on social media, because I got a lot of great things coming your way very soon. Also, I want to let you guys know something. May the 4th be with you is coming up. So on Thursday night, May the 4th, 8 p.m. Eastern time, we are going to be holding a Star Wars Day celebration because it's Star Wars and Star Wars is fun. And yeah, and Star Wars is fun, and it's great to talk about with your friends and family. So why the heck not? And also, I want to let you guys know that our next movie anniversary watch-along, it's Star Wars related. Return of the Jedi on May the 25th. That's going to be a Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. That is going to be our next episode of Movie Watch-Along. The links are set up. They're on our social media, so make sure you bookmark it. Click the word interested on the Facebook event page so you get notified of when it goes live. Lots of great things coming your way. Also, very special guest is going to be here with us in the virtual studio for an episode of And I Quote on Thursday night, May the 11th. But the question is, who is it? Who is this mystery guest? Well, here's the hint that I can give you. This individual has been in voiceover acting, is an actor, and is also a writer. This person has written books. So that's all I can tell you, but all will be revealed in time. That is the best thing that I can tell you and assure you of. But in the meantime, thank you all for being here. We are this close to 81,000 subscribers. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, smash that notification bell so you get notified of when our new videos go up. And in the meantime, stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe. And remember, life is better when watching movies.
Since the dawn of existence, there have been moments that change our world so greatly. There will be no going back.
For the first time, the heroes who change the way we see the world.
We're not what you think. Not all of us.
Will be transformed on Blu-ray.
Sometimes when you cage the beast gets angry.
You have no idea what is upon us now.
The X-Men trilogy on Blu-ray redefines the high-definition experience with brilliant picture and superior sound.
I've never seen anything like this before. Welcome to the future.
All right, I'm a little tired, a little wired, and I think I deserve a little appreciation.